First, there was the hitting. Look at this guy, Davy Concepcion. Second inning, 2-run home run over the left field wall. The National League took a 2-1 lead, and they never looked back. Then in the 7th inning, it was the pitching. Mario Soto of the Reds struck out 3 batters, including Buddy Bell right here of the Rangers with 2 on to end the last American League threat. Then in the 8th, defense. Watch Ozzie Smith come across from shortstop on Lance Parrish. What a play. No chance, Lance. You're out. National League wins 4-1. Regular season. And for the local clubs, that means making up a lot of ground. Now, last night, Professor Richie Powers gave us his midterm evaluation of the Yankees. Tonight, the old professor takes a look at the Mets.
My name is George Foster, and I play for the New York Mets.
George Foster's February pronouncement sent the hopes of the fans that sit in the seats here at Shea soaring as the Mets headed south on the winds of change. Gone were Joe Torre and all his coaches as the Mets were given a chance for a fresh start under new manager George Bamberger.
As far as coming back, you know, I think they made the start by getting Foster #1.
Foster's arrival created a crowded outfield and more changes.
I'm only 26. I still have the best years ahead of me. So let's put it this way. I want to play every day, and I expect to play every day. If it's with the New York Mets or with the New York Ball Club, I can't answer that.
With Mazzilli in Texas and Bambi in the dugout, the Mets responded early. In April, the Mets played 500 ball, and in May, they won 17 and lost 11, and might have been stealing a few Yankee fans with an impressive long ball show, co-starring Dave Kingman and George Foster. And what do you think they did in the Mayor's Trophy game? They even taught the Bronx Bombers a lesson, with Rusty Staub providing the fireworks. But the surprise of the early season for the Mets was not their hitting, it was their pitching.
All of us are throwing the ball real well. We're in pretty good groove, so we just got to keep the momentum going. I'm fortunate enough where, you know, my next time out I'll be looking for win #3, and then from there I hope I go to, you know, to 4 and 5 and on up, and I hope everybody else trails right along with me.
Then in June, the problem started. A team without a good foundation needs a little luck, and the Mets' luck ran out. The injuries began. The toughest one was when Hubie Brooks went out on June 27th. Then George Foster's bat cooled off. And wouldn't you know it, the pitching that had been holding up so well went south. So after that great start, the Mets have been dealt a case of baseball realities. Injuries and just plain bad baseball have them 8 games out of first place as they start the second half of the season tomorrow night in L.A. against the Dodgers. Now, what do they have to do? 1, they can't lose heart. 2, they have to get off to a good start as they did earlier in the year. 3, they've got to get all their injured ball players back. And 4, the magic has to be back. And if they do, they'll be a contender the rest of the year. From Shea, Richie Powers, Eyewitness Sports.
Second half of the season with a bang. Dave Kingman bangs one out in the 3rd inning to give the Mets a 2-1 lead. Kingman's 22nd home run. Then in the 6th, Mookie Wilson, same place, another home run, and the Mets go on to win with fireworks 5-2 over the Dodgers.
The fences at Chavez, Len Berman with the Mets victory, and the rest of the day in sports when we return.
Last night in Los Angeles, where they rarely win, Jerry Rice for the Dodgers was working on a perfect game, but George Foster singled up the middle with 2 outs in the 4th inning. So that set the stage for Kong. Now, a classic Kingman home run, isn't it? Deep to left center field, into the pavilion out there. Home run for Kingman, high fives, his 22nd of the year. But here's the shocker. Mookie Wilson also hit a homer. 2-run homer, just his 3rd of the year, his first in 3 months. That put the Mets up 4-1. They wound up beating the Dodgers 5-2.
By providing 6 runs, but once again, the pitching failed to hold up its end. Out in L.A., the Dodgers played catch-up ball all night long until they finally prevailed 7-6, and Dave Kingman getting to Fernando Valenzuela early. His first inning blast with 2 on made it 3-0. Number 23 for Kong. Now, after the Dodgers came back with 2, Pedro Guerrero chased starter Pete Falcone in the 3rd inning with this home run, his 17th of the season, tying the game at 3. Then with Pat Zachary on the mound, Ron Cey followed with this 2-run shot for the 5-3 lead. Cey's 11th on the year. Then after the Mets tied it, Dusty Baker's 2-run homer in the bottom of the 5th made it 7-5. And for Dusty, number 17, 7-6 the final. Zachary took the loss, and Fernando became the first pitcher in the majors this year to win 13. Tonight, rookie Brent Gaff faces Dave Stewart.
Okay, on to the National League. In L.A., the Mets are finding that the fastest road to recovery is Dave Kingman's bat. And Kong wasted no time tonight giving the Mets the lead. Here's a big guy stepping up to the plate, top of the 1st. And there it goes, off Dave Stewart. over the left center field wall. Kingman a 3-run home run. He now shares the National League lead with 24 home runs. That gave the Mets a 3-zip lead. The game is now in the top of the 5th inning. Mets batting, of course, and they have a 3-1 lead. Let's hear it for Kong. National League scores elsewhere.
Telecast is ball. Mookie Wilson will make it to third at least, and Frank Howard will hold him up. So Mookie is hit for the cycle in the 4 games. He's had a double, single, a home run, and now a triple. You'll see a mix-up here involving Guerrero and Dusty Baker. And also Mookie was fooled. He slowed up going around first base. Now watch the 2 outfielders pull up. It goes back toward the wall. And it'll be Dusty Baker who chases it back to the wall. Mookie easily goes into third, and he actually had slowed not going. I don't know what's going on there because he was going to score. I hope they're listening to the game. Could be costly here unless Kingman can get him home with a base hitter, as Bob indicated, a miscue on the part of the Dodgers. After losing such a tough game. Here's a drive deep to left. Baker going back off his glove. Kingman will get at least a pair, and the Mets pick up the run as Kingman picks up both Stearns and Foster. Well, how would you score that one, Lorne? It was a tough play, but he did have his glove on it. Second time in the series that Dusty's gotten his glove on a hard hit line drive. Just in front of the bullpen gates, he did have his glove on the ball. Wilson is there, and the Dodgers are down in the 7th, so the error does not hurt. The Mets 4 and the Dodgers 3. Now this word from Budweiser. Dave Kingman. He is hitless today, though he lined a shot off the glove and then walked in the 6th inning, facing Niedenfuhr for the first time. Kingman, Valentine, and Mankowski. And it's third. Went at the outside pitch, and there's with that vacant spot on the right side. He went with the ball and is on with a base hit. Earlier when he was up, a man well hit into the gap. Baker is over there, however. Scored George Foster and put the Mets out in front 4-3 when they came up with a up the middle. Sachs has no play. It's an infield hit. Had he been able to
in the game, 2 on for the Dodgers. Bill Russell loops it out there. Wally Backman catches it. Good play by Backman to end the rally. Mets are leading. But if you missed it late last night, what a disaster for the Mets. They led it 5-2 going to the bottom of the 9th inning and lost it 6-5 in the 1st inning last night. And Dave Kingman, an instant replay of what he did Friday night against Fernando. 3-run homer in the 1st inning yesterday and Friday. 2 nights in a row. Kingman's 24th. Then in the 8th inning, Kingman hits another one. Dead away center field. Kingman's 25th to lead the major leagues. 6 home runs in 6 games for Kingman and 12 RBIs. The Mets led 5-2 after 8, but the bottom of the 9th inning, disaster. Dusty Baker, he had a 2-run single off of Neil Allen. That closed it to 5-4, bottom of the 9th. And Ron Say, the same thing. Another 2-run single off Allen. Valentine's throw is way late, way wide. 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Look at Baker here. Rubs it into the Mets. Dodgers win it 6-5.
A bit. There you see him crouch, but not an inning of relief. Goes the other way, a base hit. Here comes Kingman being waved on. The throw by Baker, and it is not in time. And the Mets are out in front 5-3 as Backman drives in his 2nd run of the ball game. Give Wally credit. His science as a hitter is to hit the left field. He does it well. That pitch was just where he wanted it. Out over the outside corner, he lines the single to left, and Dave Kingman came in standing up and arrived in time. That is a big run. That's all up the middle, a base hit. Swan has helped his cause as Mankowski comes around to score, and it's a 6-3 ball game. Craig Swan with his first RBI of the year. And that is going to be all, I believe, for Mr. Niedenfuhr as Thomas Charles Lasorda goes to the mound. Craig Swan hanging in there, proving to be a good competitor and getting a very important base hit. It opens things up a bit for New York, and we're in the 8th inning of the game with the Mets now leading by 3. Shirley pitched 1 inning. Bottom of the 9th, and he became a winner. And looped into right, but the second baseman right on the edge of the grass has it. And as we go to the bottom of the 8th, lead now by 3. New York 6, Los Angeles 3. Now this word from Stearns has a play, and he makes the most of it. 1 out. He got it. What a catch by Mookie Wilson. Oh, brother. Well, that goes right in the book with a play that Wally Backman made earlier on Rick Monday's ball.
He swings that shoulder around. Now watch this replay. A marvelous play by Mookie. He loves to play defense. I'll bet there's a smile on his face that you can't believe when he rolls over and comes up with a baseball. Right here he shows the umpire the ball. Now that's the play of the day, and look at that smile. He has the most marvelous smile.
And the Dodgers are adios. 1-2-3 here in the 8th. We go to the 9th. The New York Mets 6 and the Dodgers 3. Now here's a word from going the other way, and he leads it off with a single. Well, the first hit off is Shirley. Earlier, Royce had retired 11 first pitch, and he is going to be safe. Second stolen base for Stearns this afternoon. Pop fly to left. Baker is there. And he's down. For 3 officially, but he's been on 3 times on an error, a walk, and he brought him around to score. And the Dodgers are not going to take a chance with Dave Kingman, who has belted 4 home runs in this series and 6 in his last 6 games as they intentionally. He had 7 hits, 4 of them homers, drove in 9 runs. And runners going. The throw in the dirt gets away. Second time it's happened today, or the second time in as many games, and the Mets get another run. It's a 7-3 ball game. It'll be a double steal and an error on Scioscia, the 3rd Dodger miscue of the afternoon.
We'll watch the throw now by Mike Scioscia. Ron Say coming over to cover it. The throw bases in the game today, 15 for the year. You'll recall 4 years.
Runner at 3rd with 1 out, and pitch. Base hit. It's now an 8-3 ball game as Valentine brings home Jorgensen. And most of these 48,788 are headed towards the exits.
This ball hit hard by Valentine. He timed that swing just right.
So singled it, and he bounces one up the middle. Nice play by Russell. And there's 2 down. Home run, and he drove in a run with a single his last
3 New York. That's we're trying to scratch out that insurance run. He got it in.
And he walks him. So Backman has been on 4 straight times. A 1 hopper to Sachs that he drops but recovers in time, and the side retired. But the Mets had 2 more runs on 2 hitters. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. The Mets up by 5. New York 8, Los Angeles 3. And now this word from Budweiser Light. Ball game at first base after pinch running for Kingman. Handles it flawlessly, and there's 1 out. And Joe Youngblood has come on to play 2-strike pitch on an error, and now he has retired 5 in a row. 1-2 pitch, and that's out. This fella has not pitched in 16 days, and 2-2 pitch, line to center, Wilson there, and the Mets are within 1 out. Splitting the season series against the Dodgers and splitting this 4-game series, and that man, Craig Swan, is 1 out away of picking up his first ever major league save. For 3, a single, and he takes the first. Tuesday night in San Francisco, Wednesday afternoon there. Looped into right center, it'll be in there for a hit. That is the first hit given up, and a strong throw by Valentine, but not in time.
Oh, nifty work in the outfield with Mookie feeding the ball off, handing it to Valentine. Valentine, of course, has the great throwing arm. Watch Mookie. Off with the glove hand, he flips it. Valentine grabs it with his bare hand, and now the ball is on the way to second, and they almost. That's fancy stuff.
Popped up. The Mets are going to win it here this afternoon, and they do by a score of 8-3. And for the first time since '75, the Mets have split a season series with the Los Angeles Dodgers as they split 12. We'll be back with the totals and highlights
this afternoon as they rebounded from last night's heartbreaking 6-5.
Phil Mankowski in the 6th inning. Little base hit gets by. George Foster scores. That put them up 4-3. They got 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, and they didn't blow it. They won it 8-3.
His named National League Player of the Week. All he did was hit 6 home runs, 12 runs batted in his last 7 games. All right, let's go. Unexpected heroes. Top of the 5th, Wally Backman. Only his 2nd home run in the major leagues. That made it cut the lead to 3-2. In the top of the 6th, Phil Mankowski playing 3rd base. Mankowski with a base hit puts the Mets ahead as Foster scores, and it was 4-3. Then the last of the 8th, Mike Marshall, the batter. Did you see this catch by Mookie? Line drive, left center. Look at Mookie. Oh, right, what a grab.
And it was a pitch up right at the letters, and that's a good fastball right in his last 13 games.
He goes on to 3rd, so it'll be a double and an error on Clark.
Mookie Wilson, stopping at 2nd base, did not realize that Clark had lost the ball and moving over to 3rd in the air, picking up his 14th two-base hit. As you look at it again, a high fastball. No chance for Clark to catch it. And as he takes it off the fence, he drops it right here in the act of throwing. Clark with an outstanding arm.
After a pitch on the outside part of the plate, he'll bring the run home, and he beats it out for an infield hit. As Ralph indicated, LeMaster was playing back.
So Lasky loses a chance to pitch a shutout. It was just about like this one, only away from the right fielder, down closer to the foul line. A good swing right there.
Lined into center field, a base hit. Mankowski will have to hold at 2nd. And the Mets with 2 on, and Pete Falcone coming up.
As we look again at his swing. Pitch out over the plate, stayed right on it.
Came home on Backman's infield hit, and he is not bunting and lines one foul. Now he bunts, and it is a good one, and Smith gets it just in time. He felt that ball would not go foul. So the sacrifice going from 3-4 from 3rd home. And Wilson drives one deep into left center field. This will score a pair all the way to the fence. Wilson going into 2nd base with his 2nd double of the afternoon, and the Mets lead it 3-0.
Well, the base hits with 2 men out are the big ones, and Mookie coming up with a big double into left center field. He picks up his 35th and 36 runs batted in, and he jumped on that fastball and hit it up the alley. Mookie
be in there for a base hit, possibly extra bases. Kingman going to 3rd. They're going to wave him on. The throw coming on by LeMaster, not in time. A good call by Frank Howard. The way Leonard threw in the ball game last night, you got to send anybody. But he got the ball to the relay man in a hurry, LeMaster, but his throw was high.
And Kingman scoring all the way from 1st base. He runs very well, and we were talking earlier about the fact that Jim Fry's been working with Racits trying to get him to hit the ball the other way, and he puts it in the corner. Leonard had trouble picking the ball up, and so Howard sending Kingman. And the relay by LeMaster offline, and Kingman scores standing up. So the Mets with a lead now of 4-0. Clark, a strikeout double play as Reggie Smith swings and misses. Good throw by Ron Hodges. And the Giants are cut down for the 37th time.
Good job of Backman and waiting on that ball behind the bag and then making the tag. Let's get their first 2 men on a single and a walk. One time the Mets leading here 4-0. LeMaster boots the ball, and there'll be no play. The bases are loaded.
Well, LeMaster will draw some boos here, and he made a great play against Mookie Wilson in the. Now here he boots a chance for a force play at 2nd.
68. And they wanted to get in 7th or even tie for it. Not sit well with the other 23 or 4. 1-2 pitch, and he misses with a fast as to what was going on, and Kingman drives this one deep. It should score Wilson, and it will, as Chili Davis is there, and Kingman has his 65th RBI as the runners move up and safely. Backman going to 3rd. Job by Orozco. All 3 pitches were down.
Look at it again. And the strike call by Lanny Harris.
He fights it. Good job of hanging on to it, and he throws him out. That ball could have really eaten him alive. The way it came up, and the Mets get out of the inning. No runs, a double, man stranded at second. The Mets 5 and the Giants 2.
Look at it again. Valentine getting right on top of the fastball and taking it down in the left field corner. Jim Wolford tracks it down out there. And the throw into LeMaster, and the relay a little bit offline, but Backman able to score, and the Mets had an insurance run and lead by 4.
Gardenhire, nice stop, and not in time. Be an infield hit. A little too far to get him.
And right here we'll look at it again. He goes deep in the hole, sets, but the throw in the dirt, and Mike unable to hold on to it, although they had the runner.
Hodges has a play, and there's 2 down. So 1 out to go. Pitch. And now he's out in front of the hitter. 2 strikes. A moment. 1-2 pitch. Left side. This should be the ball game. It is, as the Mets win it. And Jesse Orozco, a happy young man with 4 strong innings of relief, picks up his first save of the year and only his second in his major league career. He is quite a happy young man from nearby line by a score of 6-2. We'll be back with the totals and highlights.
Of no wins and 1 loss and an earned run average of 1.06.
Help me, Mookie. Help me have a season I love. Help me, Youngblood. Help me, Backman. Help me, Hillby. Help me, Stearns.
Help me, Foster. Help me, Taylor.
Help me, Rusty. Yeah! Another big game.
Nobody roots harder for the Mets than your Tri-Honda dealers.
Help me, Honda, yeah!
Big throw by John Stearns. You just can't do it any better. And it comes with a runner on third who did not break for the plate. Jones takes the pitch. Stearns comes out, makes a perfect throw against Templeton, who has 17 stolen bases. It's picture perfect. And
a line shot. Nice play by Hubie Brooks in time.
Well, the quickness of Hubie Brooks, and it's certainly there, takes an extra base hit away from Salazar. Hubie getting to that ball as it was hit right down the line. And then this throw over to first base to Kingman for the out.
In attendance here tonight, they had a banner and had a little problems with it. To Hubie Brooks, he drops it. Good recovery, and he throws him out. Well, that ball hopped out of his mitt perfectly so they could snag it in midair, and the Padres down 1. Gardenhire, Swan, and Wilson in the third. But first, this word from Getty.
It's way back there, and Jones can't take it. It is off the wall. Foster making the turn on his way to third. It'll be close, and Foster is safe. George Foster with a 3-base hit. Rupert Jones is on the ground in center field as Foster drills it in the deep center field at the 4 for Foster's first 3-base hit of the year.
He got that ball low. You'll see this wall give as Jones goes into it. Looked like he banged that right elbow. And Foster, you see Foster looking, instead of looking at the coach. George is really not a premier base runner, but he does get in there.
And he'll get the runner in. This will tie it up as he puts it back to deep right center. Might be gone. It is going, and it's out of the park. Goodbye. Ellis Valentine with his 6th 2-run home run and his 7th home run of the year, and the Mets take the lead by a score of 2-1. So Ellis Valentine picking up a 2-run home run, and the Mets taking the lead by a score of 2-1. That is the 8th home run given up by Chris. And the Mets on top for the first time in this series. First time up and flat out to right. Let's look at Valentine's home run. It's a fastball hit to right center. And Valentine strong enough to take it out of the ballpark. At the side he did. And a fine play by George Foster ends the inning. No runs, 1 hit and a walk, and 2 men left on base. And the score at the end of 5, it's the Mets 2 and the Padres 1. Coming up for the Mets, Dave Kingman, Ellis Valentine, and John Stearns. Now here's a word. That is his 22nd double of the season. The leader in doubles is 26. No catchers ever led the National League in 2-base hits.
And the Mets with activity in their bullpen. San Diego out in front. And a looper to the right side. And Perkins with a big gap. He looked to third, had no chance to get Stearns, and stumbled on his way back to first as he just came in the ballgame as a defensive replacement. And the Mets now have the tying run at third, the lead run at first with nobody out. It'll be a hit
again, and it's a check swing. Another lucky break. This time on the Mets side, as you see, Perkins slipped, and now he can't win the race. And if there was any doubt that Hubie Brooks is over that pulled hamstring, it's right there. He just out.
And the Padres draw their infield in. So the Padres, with a couple of breaks in the 5, had 4 straight singles, and he looks at a break lead run into scoring position. And a line shot, fair ball into the corner. This game is tied, and some clown is picking up the ball. Oh, brother. Who is that guy? That has just cost the Mets a run. What is he doing down in the bullpen?
Well, we look at it again. It's a fair ball just inside the line. The ball going by Perkins, the first baseman, down in the corner. This person is on the field, and he actually was trying to get that stool or whatever he had down there out of the way. He is an employee of the Padres, and I don't know whether that will cost the Mets a run or not, but a tough break for the Mets. Bamberger is going out to argue that the umpires have the right to award as many bases as they want on interference like that. And now it's Bruce Fleming in a discussion with George Bamberger.
And that's what they want, but the umpires may bring Brooks out to third. But Staub has tied this ball game up with a double. That could well have been a triple had it caromed off of there. And the guy who interfered with the ball is still standing down there.
There you see it again in the replay. He has something in his hand, a walkie-talkie or whatever. He leaned over and handed it back, and now he is talking on the walkie-talkie.
And they're going to allow the run to score. Backman's going to come out and run. Brooks has not come out. Charlie Williams, I think, is indicating to him to come out. Let's see. So Rusty Staub with an RBI pinch double, his 1400th career RBI, coming off the field as Backman goes in to run for him.
They're going to put Brooks at third base. They're going to rule he could not have gone any further than third, although I haven't seen many times in baseball an umpire award more bases than just the 2.
Boy, a big break on the infield hit by Brooks. Then a bad break on what? And Youngblood lines one. Nice stop by the second baseman, and he throws him out. And a fastball is at second and third. Outside. 1-2 pitch. Way inside. Strikes. Loop down the right side. Perkins coming over, but he will not be able to. 2-2 pitch. Struck him out on the outside corner.
And now Bob Baylor to try Gary Lucas.
A bunt to the right side. He can't get it. Not in time. The Mets take the lead. A heads-up play by Bobby Baylor. So the Mets finally get Hubie Brooks home.
Well, a surprise bunt by Baylor. The ball looked like it should have been fielded by Lucas. He comes off the mound. It looks like he should field it, but he reaches too late.
The left fielder, George
Flannery can't make the play in time, and on the 2-out bunt, the Mets take the lead by a score of 4-3. And on the play, Backman moved over to third, and the run batted in goes to Bob Baylor.
And Foster, 1-strike pitch, and the Baylor has given the Mets the lead. Way outside, 2-1 pitch. And that makes the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 3-2 delivery. Fly ball out to short left. Wynn is there, and that retires the side. But the Mets take the lead here, coming up with 2 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. Hang on to your seats as the Mets lead it by a score of 4-3. This is low, 2-2. Again, this ball. And the count full as that pitch, the 3-2 pitch. Ground ball, base hit. To the mound. The sacrifice successful, and the tying run at second base. Right back to the mound. Goes to third, or first rather, and the runner goes to third with 2 down. So now Templeton, the batter, with 2 out. Cone in the driver's seat here with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 pitch. Struck him out. The game is over. Excellent job by Falcone after giving up the leadoff single. Does not allow a ball out of the infield as the Mets come from behind in the 9th and win it, coming up with 2 runs and winning 4-3 as Falcone picks up his first save of the year. So the Mets victorious. We'll be back with the totals and highlights in just a moment.
On behalf of the California Highway Patrol.
Now back in the pen, Ben. Fear of rodents gnaws away at a player's senses. No trap there. Looks like things are out of control. Willard, stop! This rat race has got to end. Okay, pal. Back in the rage cage. Hey, man, could squirrels cause such horrors? No, sir. Scat rat. Squirrel, indeed. Ah, nuts. Please, these uplifting acts afield. Jesse Orozco, New York Mets, and other virtuous efforts like Tom O'Malley of the Giants. Ozzie Smith of the Cardinals. Second sacker Johnny Ray and the Pirates. The Reds' fast Eddie Milner. Rick Manning of the Indians. The Cubs' Jay Johnstone. Al Wiggins of the Padres. The Mets' George Foster. The A's' Davy Lopes. Wally Backman of the Mets. The Cubs' Bill Buckner. Jerry Remy, the Red Sox. In Toronto, Al Woods. For the Rangers, Larry Parrish. And finally, 2 prayer meetings. Toronto's Damaso Garcia to Jesse Barfield. And Montreal's Gary Carter to Al Oliver. Behold and believe, brothers and sisters. Speaking where Dave Kong Kingman of the Mets was on a tear. 8 homers and 17 RBIs in 12 games, giving him 25 Kong balls altogether to lead the majors and 64 RBIs, second best in the National League.
The fastball gets his 10th major league strike, and he's off to a good start as he gets Tommy Herr, who is, and we'll look at it again. Porter out in front, pulls the ball hard. It's a fair ball over the bag, And Kingman taking that ball and turning it into an out.
They're now wanting a word with Gaff. You take a look at his play.
Good range by Bob Baylor, and also Backman knows he can't get the double play, and he gets the sure out at second base and gets off there. Gaff striking out the big power hitter with a fastball. Henry got in front of it, and it's a high fastball. Baylor bails out. Mookie's safe on the stolen base. It goes into center field. Now the throw by McGee hits Mookie Wilson in the back. Earlier ball bounced off of Porter and went into the field. It's way back. It is going. It is gone. Goodbye. Dave Kingman with a long home run, and the Mets are within one. So Kingman with his 26th home run, picking up 2 runs batted in. He is now tied with Dale Murphy for the National League lead. He gets a fastball, and he knew it was gone. Kingman picking up his 67th and 68th runs batted in. Murphy went into today's action with 71, leading that within 1. And the batter coming up as the Mets score 2 runs on 1 base hit and leave none. It is St. Louis 4, the New York Mets 3. Coming up for the Cardinals in the 6th inning, Darrell Porter, Willie McGee. Here's a word from Tri-State Honda.
To 12.5 games behind the division-leading Cardinals tonight as they were beaten in St. Louis 7-5. Pick up the action in that game, down 4-0 after 3. The Mets battled back to tie it in the 6th on John Stearns' home run. And they took the lead when Wally Backman knocked one off the left field wall. Watch it land right there, yes. Hubie Brooks races in to score in the seat of his pants to make it 5-4 Mets. But in the 7th, the Cards took it away from the Mets to the game winner. A bloop single by George Hendrick right here to right field. Watch it drop in there. Come on, Ellis. No way. And St. Louis goes on to win 7-5.
It is actually getting worse and worse these days for the Mets tonight. The Mets back home following the poor road trip, and they dropped to 11 under the 500 mark. They lost to the Pirates by the score of 4-1. Pirate pitcher Don Robinson involved in a Met-like play off the drive by Backman. Where's the baseball? Could not find it. Youngblood able to go all the way to third on the play. Otherwise, no problems for the Pirates. Dick Davis with a 2-run home run in the 3rd, chasing Pete Falcone. In contrast, a strong game for Don Robinson. He went the distance, allowing 7 hits, so the Mets have lost 4 in a row. They're now 44 and 55 in deep trouble.
A lot of the Mets players like to know what's happening. If you were to describe the Mets in medical terms, I think you'd have to say they're in critical condition, with all vital organs looking weak. The Mets' 4-1 loss to Pittsburgh tonight at Shea put them 11 games below the 500 mark, 12.5 games out of first place. Let's go to the lowlights. 2nd inning, Pirates up 2-0. Pirate pitcher Don Robinson can't find the ball hit by Wally Backman. Looking all around. Where is it? Ah, there it is, on the ground at my feet. Fires to third base, too late. Joel Youngblood is safe.
1,000 at Shea tonight. The Mets lose again to the Pirates 4-1. The Mets drop 11 under 500. I hate to say it, folks, but I don't think the Mets will see 500 again the rest of the year. Let's go to the videotape. Top of the 2nd. Here was one good play. Marino, long drive to right field. Youngblood goes back as far as he can, reaches up and robs Marino of a home run. Way to go, Joel. But top of the 3rd, 2-0, one on, and boom, Dick Davis, home run Davis. Rusty goes back. Forget it, Rusty, 4-0. Bottom of the 4th, the Mets only run. Backman, again, hits the opposite field. Lee Lacy reaches up, can't get it. It's off the wall. Here comes Youngblood around 3rd. Joel comes in to score to make it 4-1, but that was it.
And Chicago this afternoon, the last-place Cubs making a move on the sinking Mets. 3-hitter for Doug Bird, the Cubs over the Mets by the score of 5-0. It was Leon Bull Durham going opposite field in the 1st against the rookie Brent Gaff. 2-run home run. That's really all the Cubs needed. The Met highlight for the day. This in the 8th. Runners on 1st and 2nd going. The nice play by Bob Baylor. Now he gets Jay Johnstone at 2nd for the 2nd out. Backman throws to 1st. Triple play. Now why Kingman would tag the runner? All you have to do is touch the bag, Frank, as you know. At any rate, another look at the National League's first triple play of the season, 5th in Mets history. The last one back in 1966. It was Eddie Brosseau, Chuck Hiller, and Jim Hickman involved then. But the Mets lost again. They have dropped 7 of their last 8.
Their first triple play since September 28th of 1966. Here's how that one happened. Here's how that one happened. We're not going to see how that... Oh, yes, we are. Bottom of the 8th, Gary Woods on first, Jay Johnstone on second, Larry Boa at bat, Pat Zachary on the mound. Here's the pitch. Fly ball to shallow left field. Bob Baylor, the shortstop, runs back, makes a great catch, 1 out, fires to Wally Backman at second for the 2nd out, fires to Dave Kingman at first for the 4th out and the 3rd out, and that's their triple play. First one since 1966.
Meanwhile, in Chicago, the Mets beat the Cubs 7-4. Swan won it, and he also hit a home run. But the big story, right in the middle of the game, Joel Youngblood was traded to Montreal for future considerations. A great deal for Youngblood. He goes from a 5th-place ball club, 15 games out, to a ball club in pennant contention. Youngblood, by the way, is now on his way to Philadelphia, where the Expos play the Phillies, so it's conceivable that Youngblood could play for 2 teams in the same day. Let's go to the videotape, today's game. Top of the 3rd, speaking of Youngblood, there it goes. Line drive, left center field, in there for the base hit. Swan scores. Wally Backman around 3rd, they wave him in, and that broke the 1-1 tie, was 3-1. Then in the top of the 4th, 1 on. Craig Swan, this is his 10th year, and boom! His first major league home run of his career in 10 years. That made it 5-1. Then in the top of the 5th, George Foster came up, and Foster with a base hit. Here comes Jorgensen around 3rd. He comes in to score, beats the throw to the plate. That made it 6-1, and the Mets went on to win it 7-4. Elsewhere,
drop out of Youngblood. He started in center, drove in the go-ahead runs here in the 3rd. A double, snapped a 1-1 tie, 2 runs scored. Next inning, Youngblood taken out of the game. The trade had been made. He was off to catch a plane to Philadelphia for tonight's Expos game. And the Mets' right field dilemma has been solved. It is now all Ellis Valentine's, and he celebrated with a fine running catch to rob Keith Moreland as the Mets beat the Cubs by the score of 7-4. So
that's the way you have to play the infield. You have to play it moving in. You can't let the ball play you.
Eric Gregg making the call on Johnny Ray.
And Mike Scott again with that great move. He's proving to be probably the best right-hander in the National League on picking runners off at first. We'll look at it again. Scott with that quick move, and the call about by Eric Gregg. It didn't quite look like.
He was just a little too far and a little too much in the air.
And Johnny Ray not convinced that Mike Scott has a great move, and the play completed and the call made by Eric Gregg.
The Pirates involved in a twilight doubleheader. Pirates took the opener 7-3, so the Mets dropped 14 under the 500 mark. In the 2nd inning, the Bucks went back-to-back. First, it was Jason Thompson, number 20. This made it 1-0 Pirates. Moments later, here's Mike Easler connecting against Mike Scott for Easler. It is number 8 on the year. This not a night for the Mets is illustrated in this sequence. In the 4th, Easler with a pop foul. George Foster was actually interfered with by the Pirates ball girl, but the ump said no interference, and Easler with another life came through with an RBI double. Pirates do it 7-3 in the first game. In the Mets 6th, Dave Kingman with number 27 on the season. This tied the game at 2. They're in the 7th, and the Mets now lead it by the score of 4-2. Hubie Brooks having a sensational night, 3 doubles, 2 singles in the twin bill.
2 strikeouts for Allen.
After throwing a fastball on the pitch before, he comes right back in a perfect spot with this fastball, and Omar Moreno underneath it. That's the 2nd time he struck out in this game, and now the batter will be.
Game. Watch this. Lalab. Look at this, a softball pitch. The eephus ball. Lamar Johnson falls down laughing. LaRoche is laughing. It's been a long time since anybody has laughed at Yankee Stadium. They win it 6-0. Games in Pittsburgh tonight. They lost the opener 7-3. They are leading the nightcap 4-2 right now. Still playing in the 7th away. The Mets were furious, but they didn't win this argument, and it led to a run. 2nd game now. The Mets get their first lead of the night on an Ellis Valentine triple into the right field corner. This scores Bob Baylor. There's Ellis going into 3rd. After the Bucks went up by a score of 3-1, Dave Kingman, goodbye, 27th home run of the year, and this put him out, tied the ball game. Then in the 7th, the Mets load him up, and Valentine again comes through up the middle. 2 runs come home. The Mets lead that nightcap 4-2. They're still playing in the 7th inning. Elsewhere, National.
And that is the advantage to the runner's pitch. And at first, 2 count on Jim Morrison. pitch. Again. See if he'll come back with a breaking ball here. Struck him out. He did not give in. He threw him 4 straight fastballs on the 3-2 pitch. 3 were fouled out, and he gets him.
And here it is again, a big pitch in this game. Allen back with a fastball, and finally Morrison, after fouling off fastball, strikes out. So it's strike 3 and 2 men left on base and 1 hit in the walk.
So the Mets leading it 4-2 as we go to the 8th. Foster, Stern. What was that song, Aquarius, when the moon is in the 7th house in Aquarius? Well, Stargell is struck out tonight, the 4th for Allen. All of his outs registered by strikeouts. Mets trying to win their 47th game of the year. And a curveball, he struck him out. 5 strikeouts for Allen.
And Neal going to the breaking ball here, and Davis not even close to it. That'll bring up
back. He's got it. And the only out that has been recorded other than a strikeout. 3 up and 3 down. First time the Pirates have gone down in order tonight. We go to the 9th as the Mets will try to add to their 4-2 lead. It'll be Wilson, Allen.
Too late, but look at it again. Right here it's topped out to third, and Morrison hangs back just a fraction. Now he's making the move. Bare hands it. He realizes he hasn't got any time. And he ran out of time.
Goes the runner. He is safe. It gets into center field. The throw coming on, and he is safe.
So Mookie Wilson exploiting the speed that he has and taking advantage of a tough throwing catcher, Tony Pena. And for Mookie Wilson, his 36th stolen base in 46 attempts. The throw going on through, so an error charge to Pena as Mookie gets up and goes over to third. The Mets have had
balls and a strike. He walked him. Well, you had Craig Swan talking about his home run between ball games. Neil Allen, should he hang on and get the save? Probably be talking about the guy. And the Baltimore chop. Here comes Wilson. He is safe. The ball gets away. Baylor will go to second and Allen to third, and the Mets out in front 5-2.
Well, it was a tough play for the Pirates to make against Mookie Wilson with his outstanding speed. Tony Pena couldn't handle the throw, and there could be an error charge in that play, and it should go against the second. So the second error made by Johnny Ray in this game, and this is the 4th error in the last 4 innings, 5th error in the last 4 innings that the Pirates have made. All getting away, the runners move up. Fielder's choice.
Baylor getting his 23rd RBI. The Mets up by 3. 7. He got a pair. Inside 1-1. Popped up. Infield playing back, but Ray is back there. And he's got it. 1 out. Left-hander against the right-hander. And Foster, and put a Gary Racich in there and let him.
Unglory. Move there, basically they're going to get the defense in the ball.
Takes the strike. And he does. 1 run is in. Here comes Baylor around to score, and 2 runs are in, and the Mets are out in front 7-2.
Oh, Foster getting a big 2-out base hit here as he reaches out and singles into center field. And this will be his 3rd RBI of the doubleheader. Had one in the first game on a sacrifice fly. So the Mets picking up a 5-run lead, and they still have only 1 man out here in the 9th inning.
Foul ball. Inside 3-1. Looking for his first hit.
He got in there.
Well hit. Easler back, and he's got it. 2 down. Left side, Berra has it. And he did just get George Foster. He took his time on that. Mets come up with 3 big runs in the 9th inning. and go to the bottom of the ninth, trying to gain a split here, leading by a score of 7-2. It'll be the bottom third of the order, bear the Pirates.
Manage. Just give me a chance. That's like the old gorilla.
One off of Stearns. Stearns shaken up a little bit. But for Randy Jones, it would be Jones's 100th victory in his career as the Mets lead by 5, 7-2 after the Pirates won the first game 7-3. Fly ball to center. Wilson coming on. And one out.
And now Getty would like to present the Getty gift certificates to tonight's most valuable player in the second game. It's Ellis Valentine. He drove in 3 runs. Drove in one with a triple, another with another regular. Take your cap off to Getty.
1-2 pitch. And a breaking ball ripped into left center field. Wilson cutting it off, and Pena will hold it first. And that's outside on the breaking ball. 2-2. And that ball doing tricks on Wilson. Well, I'll tell you that. Right field, base hit. And the Pirates send a runner home. And it's a 7-3 ball game. And now he'll have to face Bill Madlock. 2, second for 1. Game's over as the Mets win it and split the doubleheader, winning 7-3 as that young man. Oh, he gets that heart to palpitating quite a bit, gets his 19th save, and very happy for Randy Jones, who picks up. He's coming out there right now in the jacket, and he is picked up. There's Jones, his 100th career victory, and we're happy for him as the Mets win it by a score of 7-3, gain a split in the doubleheader. We'll be back with the totals and the happy highlights on game number 2 right after this message. Going to be out. What a throw by Valentine.
What's the confusion? He's out, I think. Now the Mets are starting to come off of the field. Stearns was not sure how it had been called by Dick Stello. What a throw by Valentine.
It was. I thought he'd go to third, but he came home for the double play. But the Pirates scored 2 runs. Roden. Now a word from
Magnificent throw by right fielder Ellis Valentine. Jason Thompson slagging. Stearns grabs it. He's got him easily tagged out. Eric Gregg moving around to make the ball. Now realizing that he has the ball, and he makes the among the leaders in 2 base hits all season. This is lined hard down into the corner. It's hit for Stearns.
10 double plays and a triple play on this road trip.
No wonder they call it the pitcher's best friend. The ball is hit hard, a one-hopper to Bobby Baylor. He has to wait a little bit for Backman to get there, but Wally has plenty of time to throw to Kingman. And what down the right field line? Fair ball, a base hit going into the corner. Rounding third and scoring is Mookie Wilson. Baylor around second. He'll go for a triple, and he'll go standing with a 3-base hit. Bob Baylor getting his first triple of the year. He drives a run in, and now the tying run is only 90 feet away at third, and nobody out. Bob Baylor, what a professional baseball player.
Baylor going the other way with this pitch, and there's no doubt about it, it's in there. Lacey, who has a very strong arm, has to chase it down to the wall as Wilson. And it took a bad hop on him, allowing Baylor to go to third as Wilson scores the first run of the night for the Mets. Now that tying run in the form of Baylor at third with nobody out.
The infield has drawn in. No one delivers. And a ground ball through the hole into right field. Tie ball game. With the infield in, that became a base hit. The old saying, when you bring that infield in, you make 200 hitters into 400 hitters. The ball wasn't hit hard at all by Ellis, but just beyond the reach of Jason Thompson.
So Ellis going after that low and away pitch and going with it. Infield drawn in, they can't get it, and Valentine gets his 31st RBI of the year as Baylor scores his 4th RBI in the last 2 games.
Batter is David Arthur Kingman, but hit into a double play. Ball 1. He went after 3 years ago. He had 40. High fly deep to left field. It's going, and there it goes. A home run for Dave Kingman. The New York Mets have a 2-run lead. David has just hit his 28th of the year, and he now has 71 RBIs. That was a typical Dave Kingman home run. A mile high, way over the inside fence. And I'm sure, Lauren Brown, when we see the replay, it clears everything. It winds way up back in the stands. Dave being congratulated as we take a second look.
Well, Kingman, who did not have a home run in the 3 days at Wrigley Field, gets his second in as many games here in Pittsburgh, and again deep up into the red seats. So Kingman, with that home run now, is tied with Dale Murphy for the league leadership, actually the major league leadership, both with 28.
Trailing 2-0. They are now leading 4-2. But a good inning for New York. The Mets scored 4 runs on 4 hits, nobody left on. Now, at the end of 5.5 innings, the Mets 4 and the Pirates 2. Coming up,
Divil himself, he pulls the string right here.
Foul into the crowd. And that's in the air to left field. Rusty Staub will be under it. And Rusty makes the play. Lee Lacy faces his total to 119 hits. This is what Mookie worked on with Harry the Hat Walker before going to spring training. Hitting down on the ball, trying to hit it on the left side of the infield, using that speed to beat it out.
There goes Wilson. It's a strike, and the throw into the outfield, and Mookie will head to third. It'll be his 38th stolen base, and he advances to third on the error.
Not a good throw at all by Tony Pena. Mookie's speed, he tries to do it too fast, and he throws it to the shortstop side. Jimmy Smith had no chance, and now Mookie easily goes on to third.
And that retires the side. No runs, a hit, and an error, and a man stranded. The New York Mets 4 and the Pittsburgh Pirates 2. It'll be the top of the order. 2 down, and that negates the sacrifice fly possibility. And the count goes full 3-2. 3-2 pitch. Low, he walked him. They appealed to see whether he went around, and Greg says no. Stops his foul. Fly ball, center. Wilson is there. And the Pirates are down in the 7th. They strand a pair. They have stranded 9 tonight, and 6 of those 9 in scoring position. So we go to the 8th inning. The Mets out in front by a score of 4-2.
Pittsburgh, the Mets' longest win streak in a month and a half comes to an end at 2. The Pirates 4 and the Mets 1. Craig Swan had a 1-0 lead through 4 innings, helped out by Mookie Wilson. Bill Matlack with a long drive, and Mookie going as high as he could go takes it away. But it was the inner defense that cost the game. 2 out in the 5th, first and second. Bob Baylor for the force gets right through Wally Bachman. Error on Bachman, the tying run. Jimmy Smith scores. And with the gate swung open, Matlack then clears the bases. He gets it by Mookie, this time for a triple. The 2 go-ahead runs come in. 3 unearned runs for the Pirates. They win it 4-1. And the Mets now 48-61. And they now stand just 3.5 games ahead of the last place Cubs.
Proceed to tell you about it again. Dent trade for Lee Mazzilli. Like everything else that's happened this year, it does not make any sense. If the Yankees are serious about winning the pennant, you don't trade an infielder for an outfielder, not when you have so few infielders and so many outfielders. If you're serious about the pennant, you trade for a pitcher, not another outfielder. And if Mazzilli is going to play first base, where does that leave Dave Collins? Or will be in uniform tonight in Detroit. Let's talk about home runs on tonight's broadcast. Remember the one that Mazzilli hit in the All-Star game? Well, if you don't, here it is. 1979, the game in Seattle. Mazzilli homers off Jim Kern of Texas. Mazzilli also walked later in that game. The walk turned out to be the winning RBI. But which is the real Lee Mazzilli? The guy who hit 300 and was an all-star hero, or the guy who slumped last year and was injury-prone this year? We still don't know the real Lee Mazzilli.
Going on in, but not in time. So Mookie Wilson, 0 for 5 last night, leads it off with a double.
Mookie picking up his 17th 2-base hit off a breaking pitch. It is hit number 123 for Mookie, and Durham gets it back in, but not in time, as Wilson has a stand-up double.
Right side, and Wilson, having to hold up, thinking that Johnstone might catch it, winds up at third. So Backman, normally an opposite field hitter, pulls a single on 2 strikes to right.
That pitch to pull. It's an inside slider, and Backman gets on it and pulls it to right field. Mookie holding for
high and inside on the, and that's, and trying to get out of the streaks, to say the least, in both leagues, as Foster drills one off the glove of Sandberg. 1 run is in. Backman will go to second. They're going to wave him on, and now he goes back, and he is just back in time. Howard waved him on, then all of a sudden thought differently of it, and will await the official scorer's decision on that hard hit ball off Sandberg.
Well, look at it again. It's a hard smash again off the slider. All 3 balls that have been hit have been off the breaking pitch, off the glove of Sandberg. It could be scored either way. It is being scored as a base hit, and Backman has to scramble back to third. Representing the tying run, as you see it on the replay. Right here, the halt sign by Frank Howard, and he gets back in ahead of the play.
So Rusty Staub, who looked like he was, and he pulls this into the seats. Afternoon game here tomorrow and a double Sunday. This ball drilled deep left center field. Durham coming over, and he's grabbed it. The runners tagging up. Backman scores the tying run, and Foster goes to third.
Rusty Staub on the sacrifice fly picks up last 2 games. As a pinch hitter last night, he doubled in 3, and now he gets his 4th
hitter for the year, and that's in. And Boa, playing halfway in, keeps the runner at third, and there's 2 down. And a runner stranded at third, so at the end of 1, deadlocked at 2.
Hubie Brooks. Throw on down to second as Durham goes over to second on the out at third, and Buckner arguing the call by the third base umpire, Fred Brocklander. But Valentine, with that powerful arm, throwing all the way across the diamond, and the call of out. Take up the argument is Lee Elia as we look at it again.
Boy, it's hard to see why he would argue from just the natural eye viewpoint, not watching the replay. He was out. Right here, he got him. Now, if you follow through on that, it looked like his arm came up. Now watch. Well, I thought for a moment that
the right fielder, Ellis Valentine. Cubs no runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Pops the ball. Backman on his way to second base and holding there. So Steve Henderson had it, but then lost it.
Now talking about Backman burning people, and this time Bird with the outfield playing straight away. Got that pitch away from him, and that's a ball he should have had. He looked back at the wall, I think, and that confused him.
Being scored as a 2-base error. And he misses the fastball. Back with a fast. And the breaking ball, did he swing? First base umpire Bruce Fleming said he did go around. And it's hit deep in the hole, backhanded by Boa. The throw to first in the dirt, and it gets away. And Backman will score on the air. Larry Boa, a reliable shortstop under normal circumstances, making it there all season long.
So Doug Bird, instead of having a 1-2-3 inning on Henderson's error, now Boa's throw in the dirt. And coming up and hitting Buckner in the wrist, he cannot find it, allowing Backman to score. And the Mets within 1.
He'll be out.
Boy, they never learn.
Ellis Valentine gunning down his second base runner, trying to go from second to third. And we look at it again.
Now Ellis coming a long way. Now watch when he slows down getting ready to set up. And boy, they never learn. That's the second time, as Ralph indicated. In the last inning, he threw Buckner out.
So it's a double play, and Ellis Valentine
batters.
And right here we look at it again as the fastball is missed by Boy. Goes right up.
Nice backhand by Backman. 3 up, 3 down. First time tonight the Cubs have been retired in order, so we go to the bottom of the 7th. Over 13,000 total in the ball feet. As the Mets down by 1, 4-3 will send the top of the order to. And Wilson's speed beats Bird. And Mookie might be hurt.
Well, this was really a race against time, and Mookie running so hard that when he hit the bag, he just goes right on forward and down to the ground. It is Bird against Wilson, and Bird getting the throw from Buckner, and it looked like Bird won the race. That Bird was right in his argument. Although Mookie might have got the front part of that bag. It was awfully close. We'll look at it again. The move to first base, and it would be that his right foot did not get off the pitching rubber. You had to be completely off that rubber with the.
So the tying run at second base, nobody out. Armor, and coming 3/4 that time. And that's outside. 2 balls. Buckner and Sandberg on the grass at first and third, and that's ball 3. 3-0 pitch. And it's a strike, just caught the outside, 4-2. And it's bunted foul, so the count will be full now. And he bunts foul on a 3-2 pitch. He is out of there. Probably saying, why did you bunt on that pitch?
He missed the sign. It's got to be that. He, I'm sure, wasn't bunting on that pitch. Left-hand batter, he can pull the ball and ground it out. Missed the sign and was not bunting there.
3 times tonight, an RBI double, a walk, and he driven into left center. Here comes Wilson, makes the wide turn, but they're in plenty of time as Henderson's throw is way short, and this game is tied up.
So Foster gets his second run batted into the night as he goes out there and reaches that low outside slider. Henderson throwing home and not in time as Mookie comes in to score.
That's 2-0 over Buckner, and this one is over Buckner. Foster will go to third. And Staub has had a good last 2 nights here for the Mets.
Rusty Staub bounces it right over the head of Buckner. He had driven in the run in the first with a sacrifice fly, set it up for the Mets with a double. And his last at
a big hand as he departs to the Mets dugout. 3, a double and a single and an RBI on the sacrifice fly. So Ellis to the right side, and the Mets will have the lead. Jorgensen heads for third. And the throw not in time. So for the first time tonight, the Mets take the lead as Valentine drives home the go-ahead run.
Look at it again. It's just beyond the reach of Junior Kennedy. A desperate try by the second baseman. Foster scores the go-ahead run, and Jorgensen goes from first to third. So the Mets still have a runner at third with 1 out.
That's ball 2. 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball, base hit. And it's now a 6-4 ball game. So Hodges getting his first hit of the night.
Got to give Ron a lot of credit. He hangs in there off those fastballs. Now gets a hanging curveball, and he just drills it right by the first baseman, Buckner. So the Mets go up by 2 as Jorgensen scores.
Last, but the Cubs percentage points in front and 5th. High at 3-1. Count will go full as fly ball deep to right center field. Durham giving chase, and a nice catch by Jay Johnstone. And the runners, who are halfway down, have to go around his knees, and he strikes him out. But the Mets take the lead for the first time tonight, coming up with 3 runs on 5 hits and stranding a pair. So at the end of 7 complete innings of play, the Mets 6 and the Cubs 4. 1 out.
Hubie Brooks turning in one of the best plays of this ball game, or of any ball game, just going all the way, making a great stop of the hard smash, a bid for the 2-base hit, and then the accurate throw to Jorgensen. Brooks with a fine defensive play.
Nice backhand. He was playing back this time, but Jorgensen off the bag. George Bamberger is going to argue with Bruce Fremming about this.
Fremming says he was at least a foot off the bag. And if there's an error in the play, and there will be, it should go to Mike Jorgensen. We'll look at it again. Jorgensen at first base with what they call a neighborhood play, timing the play. He doesn't really have to. Brooks owes him plenty of time. And I got to say he was on the bag.
Yes, sir. And another nice effort by Brooks, Ralph.
Throw not that far away to pull him off the bag, and it appeared he stayed right on it, but the Mets lose the argument. Bamberger back to the dugout. Caught, but right there the ball in the glove, and the foot is on the bag, unless it's just off, an inch off. But then Fremming at
line is there, and there's 2 out. Well, if he gets one more, the point will be moot. Higher, nice play to Baylor. As Davis is forced out to retire the side. In the inning, no runs, a hit, a man left on. So we go to the bottom of the 8th with the New York Mets out. With his 3rd hit of the night, and he makes the turn, but Woods in a shallow center field spot, as you can see. Hung that breaking ball and outside. And another toss. Runner not going, and Baylor. There goes the runner. Swing and a miss. And not in time. Mickey Wilson here with stolen base number 40 as Baylor strikes out. And this throw in the dirt, that is the 9th consecutive stolen base for Mookie Wilson. 2 stolen bases, and Lee Mazzilli with 41 in 79 and 80 are the top 2 base stealers in the season for the Mets. So Mookie Wilson break their record. Out by Baylor will be intentionally walked. So Mike Jorgensen, 2 out. Correction. Inside 2, and that's high. 3-1. And the fastball for a strike. There they go. And the pitch. 3-2 pitch fouled. 3-2 pitch. And Buckner flipping to Hernandez just in time to retire the side. Hang on to your seats as the Mets lead it here by a score of 6-4. Wilson might have a play near the photographer's cage, and he's got it 1 out. Ball hit to center field. 1 to go. And he looks at a fastball for a strike. And he's in the hole, 2 strikes. picked up. Brooks over near the fence, but it will be back about 4. And that's out. A 1-2 delivery. Outside 2-2. She'll start. Second game of the doubleheader on Sunday is George Bamberger toe tapping. This should be the ball game. It is, as the Mets snap a 4-game losing streak, and Jesse Orozco picks up his second win of the year. So the Mets win it by a score of 6-4. We'll be back with the totals and highlights after this word from Michelob Light.
Finish the battle for the basement out of last place. They will not be in the cellar. They won the first game of the doubleheader with the Cubs, 5-4 the final. More fun and games when they battle for the basement at Shea. On Jorgensen's fly ball, there's Jay Johnstone out there, and that is a 3-base error. With Mookie on third base, they try to pick him off. The ball hits him. Mookie comes home. You know, it's been like this the entire series this weekend at Shea. But a major league play saved the game. In the 9th inning, bases loaded. There goes George Foster. He's got it. Only 1 run came home on the sacrifice fly. That was it. Mets won at 5-4. In the second game, it's now 5-5 in the 6th. Foster had a 3-run homer in that one. The
American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
The Chicago Cubs started today's doubleheader against the New York Mets with a 1-game lead in the battle for last in the National League East. The first was a game that neither team could afford to win. Jay Johnstone started things off for the Cubbies when he took Mike Jorgensen's fly to the wall and, oops, forgot to catch it. The Mets' Mookie Wilson went crazy in the third. First, he singles in Ron Gardenshire to tie the game at 2. This is Gardenshire. Now watch Mookie. Tries to steal third. And he makes it. Finally, Mookie remembers what was at stake, and he almost succeeds in getting picked off. Sorry, Chicago's Jody Davis throws the ball into left. The Mets tried to let the Cubs come back, but George Foster kept New York out of the cellar with this great catch. First game, New York 5, Chicago 4. New York rebounded in the second game, dropping the contest 6-5 to move within a game of last. Montreal and Pittsburgh are fading while the Mets and Cubs fight for last.
Meeting with General Manager Frank Cashin. That's right. Cashin took exception to Valentine's remarks yesterday, especially the one about the Mets being the worst organization in baseball. Did not go over too well with the GM. Cashin will attempt to accommodate Valentine with a trade, but you have to wonder who would want him. Ellis only enhancing his reputation. He made his only appearance today as a pinch hitter in the second game, booed on the way to the plate and booed on his way back to the dugout. The real focus of attention in today's split with the Cubs was on George Foster. In the first game, 9th inning, 5-3 Mets, Cubs bases loaded, and Foster makes the catch to save the ball game. Mets win it 5-4. Then in the second game, with the Mets trailing 5-2 in the 5th inning, Foster is up with 2 men on. He belts it deep to left center, 3-run shot as the Mets take a 5-4 lead, but Foster refused to take a curtain call. 3 innings later, he would be booed in the 8th. The game tied at 5. Bull Durham, who had homered earlier, the shot gets by Foster, no error. Durham is on his way. It goes as an inside-the-park home run as the Cubs take a 6-5 lead. But the script gave Foster a last shot. Bottom of the 9th, bases loaded, 2 out. Foster with a liner could be, but Jay Johnstone comes over, and that is it, 6-5 Cubs and the split. Between the games, the annual Banner Day Parade, what has become one of the Mets' traditions, and today our own Carol Jenkins served as one of the judges, fulfilling her lifelong ambition.
Well, Steve Hammond dives into the stands. Watch this. Tremendous effort, comes up with it, and umpire Ted Hendry says, yes, he's out. And the Yankees go down in defeat 8-4. Mets were beaten last night by the worst team in the National League. No, they did not play themselves. They were beaten 9-2 by the Cincinnati Reds on a 15-strikeout performance by Reds pitcher Mario Soto. But Mets fans were treated to a pair of defensive gems by right fielder Gary Racich. Check out this action. Second inning, Racich goes to his left to make a great catch on Cesar Cedeno. Then shows his versatility in the 8th, going to his right to rob Wayne Krenchicki. Look at that catch.
Montreal sweep of the Braves. Tim Wallach in hot pursuit, stays with it. Then he checks the call through the fence and then gets a hand from umpire Harry Wendelstadt. But that play was topped in the Yankee game. Royals rookie Steve Hammond leaps deep into the crowd, lost in the crowd, amazingly comes out not just with the ball, but with his hat and his glove.
He had the ball right on by Concepcion.
Racich, look at this play. I mean, diving to his backhand, he's off the ground and makes the play. But Krenchicki, same guy, this time going to his right. Another unbelievable catch. When he got home, he dove into bed. He became a human seal.
Well, in Cincinnati, the Mets continuing their dreadful play. They have now dropped into a virtual tie in last place, and I think the time has come to take a close-up look at the moves made by General Manager Frank Cashen. 3 years producing Zippo. The new Met regime has certainly equaled the incompetence of its predecessors. Tonight, Mets lost their 4th in a row in 10, the Reds winning it by the count of 3-1. Craig Swan was 1 out away from a complete game shutout, but on the bouncer by Dave Concepcion, Hubie Brooks with the throw off the mark. This was ruled a base hit. It led to this. Larry Bittner, RBI single. Reds tie it at 1 with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th inning. On to the Cincinnati 10th. Tom Hausman in. It is Ron Oster with a man on, hitting us 4th of the season. That broke it up. Reds 3, Mets 1. Mets now 19 games under 500, and they fall into that virtual tie for last with the Cubs, because this afternoon...
That's Jacksonville, Florida. 97.
Maybe by Brooks on a nice diving play in time. 2 fine efforts by Brooks here in the 2nd inning.
A tough play, and Brooks makes it beautifully. Ball right in the glove, and now he gets up and makes a good throw to first base. So you
see the reaction by Ed Lynch after this. Claudel going. You won't from this shot. Hodges with a perfect throw. And Giles putting the tag on him.
Dickie Thon, who has done a good job for Houston, as a leader, who hasn't struck out too many batters this year. Only 40 coming into this game in 107.
Caught the inside corner, and Swan strikes out the side. Nope. Now this word from Manufacturers Hanover. Cruz charging. Brooks coming around, but the ball gets away, and the Mets are out on top 1-0 as Gardenhire gets back to first.
Cruz had a good shot at throwing the runner out at home. He was playing a very shallow left field. And here, but he booted the ball. It will not go as an error. Broken bat, blooper in the left, and Cruz right in close. And as you see, Hubie Brooks not even at third base when that ball is.
A fair ball into the corner. Here comes Gardenhire around to score, and Bochy winds up with a double.
Boy, what a terrible job by the left fielder Jose Cruz. He just gave up on that ball. It was catchable, and it turned out to be fair. Cruz looking around like he didn't see it, and I would like to hope that that's his reason. He doesn't even go after this ball, and it was catchable. Bochy hitting the ball out to left field, and Cruz just sort of looking at it, as you see on the replay. And the ball hits in fair territory about halfway up in the fence. It's a fair ball, and the Mets get another run, and they're leading by a score of 2-0. And he shows a good arm here as he throws out Cruz. It looked like Cruz might have been safe. Let's see what it looks like on the replay. Gardenhire, the shortstop, covering.
No doubt about it.
He certainly
for third. The throw coming on by Tony Scott, and he is safe.
Boy, an excellent job of base running to go from first to third on the ball up the middle. Look at it again. Valentine with a single through the middle and going all the way to third base where he can score on an out. On the play, fine base running.
16. But much better than against right-handers. Kingman trying to bunt. At least 90% of the games as Kingman drives one into center. It's going to be in there for a hit. Baylor will score easy as Valentine holds up at second, and it's a 3-0 ball game.
And 77 hits and 77 runs batted in. Kingman kind of serving that one out in the center field. For that
postal service.
Here comes Cruz. Here comes Bochy. The throw to the plate is a good throw, but right into the runner and not held on to by Ashby, the catcher. And the ball game is tied. So Mookie Wilson with a single to drive in his 47th run of the year. Last year he drove in only 14.
Two-strike pitch to Wilson, and he pulls it inside the shortstop and the third baseman. And Bochy coming around. Cruz. His throw almost on time on the bounce, but it's behind. It looked like it hit Bochy in the back. It did.
And the score at the end of 3.5 innings. The Mets' 4 performance as we look at it again. So it brings up back
strikeout performance by Swan. That is number 7.
We'll look at it again. And the 7 strikeouts represents his high for this season.
Run on with nobody out. Brooks' second hit of the night.
Mets have 12.
Tap to the right side. The catcher's got it. His only play at first. And Brooks winds up at second field. It's going to be in there for a base hit. Brooks had to hold up. They're going to wave him on. Here comes the throw to the plate, and he is out at the plate. Oh, Brooks is upset. He just got thrown out. Apparently thinking he got his hand on the plate. A bang-bang play. Bamberger giving it to Montague.
Well, right here, Hubie Brooks is out twice. He's out at the plate. Although he looks safe, and he's also out of the ball game. He is really hot. He held up on the base hit, thinking the ball might be caught. Then he got a late start, came around third. Frank Howard waved him in, and I certainly thought he was safe at home.
Looked like his hand had got right.
So right here, we'll look at it again. Hodges hits it into right center field. Hubie hasn't started to run yet. Now he's going. And the throw goes into the second baseman. He's being waved in. Garner now throws it into the catcher. Hubie is flying at this point. Makes the head first slide. And his contention is he got to home plate before he was tagged.
Well, there's no question
about it. No doubt about it.
He is on the plate, and the glove is not even on him. No doubt about that he was safe.
And Ed Montague makes a call of out. And Hubie right there is thrown out.
And it didn't even appear that the glove ever hit him.
And the umpire had a hold of him right there.
Now, what if Brooks had grabbed the umpire? That's the question you got to ask. Brooks would be suspended for a week.
That's right. He would have had problems there.
Montague should not be able to get away with something like that. Now, if he was defending himself in the shirt.
They lost their 10th in a row this afternoon, and there was controversy in this ball game. When manager George Bamberger went out to present the umpires with the lineup card, he got into an argument with the umpires and was given the heave-ho. They threw him out even before the game started. Now here's what had Bambi riled up. The bad call at the plate last night, the one that robbed the Mets on the go-ahead run. Hubie Brooks clearly beat the tag. This would have put the Mets in the lead. He was safe, but he calls him out. Brooks can't believe it, jumps up, and look at the umpire. The umpire grabs Hubie's shirt here. Now watch what happens. He throws him out of the ball game. Hubie is saying something probably not too good there. Kind of bumps him a little, and the umpire grabs his shirt. Well, in today's ball game, watch what happens. Coming up here, you'll see the action after that controversial play. Art Howe, more Mets miserable madness. The ball gets past Ellis Valentine, rolls all the way to the wall. Art Howe gets a 3-run inside the park home run. He's legging it out here, almost passes the guy in front of him. The Mets lose their 10th in a row by a score of 5-4. All right.
Afternoon, same score as last night. Astros 5, the Mets 4. The Mets have now lost 10 in a row, 25 games under 500. Put it this way, folks, just to finish 500, the Mets would have to win 31 of the last 37 games. Bamberger 4-4, top of the 8th. Hodges is on. Around third, says Frank Howard. The throw to the plate. Scott to Garner to Ashby. And Ed Montague says he's out at the plate. Come on, give us a break yet. You see him grab Brooks' shirt? All right, watch the replay for two things. Number one, it appears Brooks easily beats the throw across the plate before Ashby puts the tag on him. That's number one. But number two, watch Montague's left hand as he grabbed Hubie's shirt. Come on, you can. If Brooks did that, he's suspended 10 days and fined $2,500. How come the umpire can do it and the player can't do it? Double standard.
Hubie Brooks tries to score, looks to be safe. The tag was never made, but the umpire, Ed Montague, called him out. Hubie goes berserk. He was immediately ejected, but right here, why did Montague grab Brooks? If a player did that, he would be suspended, a point that George Bamberger made to no avail, and these are rough times for George, and he did not drop his argument last night. Here it is this afternoon. When Bamberger went out with his lineup card, he went right at it with Montague again. As a result, Bamberger thrown out before the game even started. 5-zip lead. The Mets came back 4 in the ninth. Pinch hitter George Foster kept it alive with his 2-run double. That made it 5-4. The Mets with a shot, man on, nobody out but reliever Bert Rober retired the final 3, gets Valentine to end it by bouncing out. Astros win it 5-4. Mets have lost 10 in a row, and they are now 5 full games behind the Cubs because
Rusty Staub of the Mets can't be a designated hitter anymore, but he can drive in the runs. With more than 1,400 RBIs, Rusty ranks 4th among all active players. In 1978, Staub was a DH with the Tigers, and the Galloping Gourmet had 121 RBIs, the most ever by a designated hitter. All of a sudden, whenever he left home for the ballpark, everybody knew Rusty Staub. Oh, take heart. The rescue crew is on the way. But sometimes the crew is not for you. Not exactly the kid glove treatment. Oh, well, how about a treatment with these gloves? They've got to be kidding. Every now and then, we all get a little wound up. But if you feel like you're going round in circles, just let your hair down. Go with the flow and get into the swim of things, even if you've got that old sinking feeling. Falling? Or is it? Oh, shoot. Or parachute. At least practice does make perfect. And now for a little fan-pleasing perfection right on target. In right field, Gary Racich, New York Mets. Ready to go to the wall? Terry Poole of the Astros. In center field, Glenn Wilson of the Tigers. All the way back, Brett Butler of the Braves. And back for a curtain call, the Mets' Gary Racich. Now around the horn. From first, all out at the dugout, Dave Collins of the Yankees. At second, Phil Garner of the Astros. Shortstop Larry Boa of the Cubs. And at third, another Cub, Ryne Sandberg. Again at third, Hubie Brooks of the Mets. At shortstop, Bill Allman of the White Sox. And the Astros, Dickie Thon. That's second baseman Brian Giles of the Mets. Finally, quick thinking on the mound from super cool Rick Camp of the Atlanta Braves. Cardinals tied at 4, 2 outs, bases loaded, a 1-2 count on the batter, and breaking for home here is Glenn Brummer. He's safe. A bummer for the Giants, and the game-winning steal for the Cardinals' number 3 catcher.
We have a full moon. As you look at what the Mets hope to be, a moon shining in their favor, 11-game losing streak.
Well, they've got a good opportunity against Rick Camp, who's gone for the bullpen. He's become a starter. In fact, he's 0-2 against the Mets, and they'll rely on rookie Rick Ownby looking for his first good start, and this is his 3rd outing.
And Murphy, he gets good distance when he lets that bat go. Yesterday, he threw one way over 3rd. Here it is again. Now, when a hitter does this, he's just fooled. He's so far out in front that he lets go of the bat.
And give Bobby Baylor an assist. Surprising everybody as he did last night with a bunt.
Here it is again, a bunt base hit with 2 men out. And that's got to surprise everybody, including the Mets. Kingman is a home run hitter, and 2 men away, bunts, and Valentine moves down to 2nd.
For George Foster, 12 homers and 60 RBIs. And Terry in the middle. Well hit, but curving foul. Just out in front a little too much.
Camp comes in with his sinker, and Foster gets around.
The other way. So the Mets with their 3rd hit off of Camp. First 2 came after nobody on it.
Sinatra with a throw that is low. And Royce should say the shortstop.
Coming on, not in time. So Baylor doing his job, going to the right side. As is Horner. And this ball driven deep. It'll score the run. Murphy's there. And Wilson comes on. The Mets lead 1-0.
Mookie with that good speed. Good throw by Murphy, but not in time.
It appeared that Baylor could have gotten it as well, and you'll see Baylor give way as Foster's got the better view of the ball, of course, coming in. Now here Baylor drifts off. He still had plenty of time. Looked like he might have taken his eye off the ball. Let's watch his face. He didn't look that ball into the mitt.
That's a very familiar pose.
I was sitting in the dugout watching the Ranger Islander.
2 hits, 1 error, and is Royster, and what a catch Jerry Royster made in left field. Jerry Royster with a sensational play.
He saves a run right here with 2 outs, and he has to leap. There it is. And the Mets are down here in the 4th.
Fine play by the utility player. He's a 3rd baseman in the last. The Mets won. Now here's a word from Exxon.
Yes, the Mets finally won a ball game, ending the losing streak at 15. That's 2 shy of their all-time record, a streak that some might think would push manager George Bamberger into early retirement. But George told me earlier to the contrary.
Since we've been going through this, I think more about coming back than when we were playing good, really, because maybe it's because I'd never been through it and I don't like it, and I think things can change.
And things did change tonight. A 5-1 Met win triggered by George Foster. This 2-run home run in the 3rd, only his 13th on the season. He knocked in 3 on the night. Pete Falcone all the way. Lost the shutout on an Alan Ashby home run with 2 out in the 9th, but a strong game for Pete. Threw a 6-hitter. Mets were able to shake hands commemorating a victory for the first time since the 15th of August.
In just a second, but first up front, the Cows. Mets snapped that 15-game skid tonight. They had to wait nearly an hour for the rain to stop, but it was worth the wait for the loyal fans. Pick up the action here. First inning out at Shea. Rusty Staub at the plate, starts it off, goes the other way. A single past third into left field. Mookie Wilson around third base to score. The Mets lead 1-0. Third inning, goodbye. George Foster, towering shot into the bullpen. 13th home run of the year. The Mets lead by a score of 4-0. Pete Falcone went all the way, a 6-hitter. Last pitch of the game, called third strike on Danny Heap. It ends the ball game, sets off the fireworks. The Mets beat Houston 5-1 to snap the 15-game skid.
At Shea, the Mets won a ball game. That's it. Bring in the band. Come on. The Mets beat the Astros 5-1, breaking the 15-game losing streak. Pete Falcone all the way. Let's go to the videotape. Bottom of the first inning, Rusty Staub, the batter, and Rusty base hit into left field. Here comes Mookie around third, and he scores. It's 1-0 Mets. After Foster's sacrifice fly to make it 2-0, Brooks comes up, base hit by Hubie. Here comes Rusty around third. Eat those ribs, Rusty. Here's the throw to the plate. Rusty is out at the plate. He says, come on, ump, give me a break. I own a restaurant. I'll give you some ribs. Bottom of the third, Foster comes up. Boom, that's it. 13th home run of the year with a man on. 4-0 Mets. They win it 5-1. There's the guy, Falcone, 6-hitter, struck out 5 and walked 4.
And Russ Nixon, the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. Russ replaced. There he comes back with the strikeout pitch. Fastball really dropping out like a midget.
I think he's standing a step higher. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Well, we mentioned the other night it was the first time in 12 games that the Mets had retired the side in order in the opening inning. Now they've done it 2 in a row. Always looking for omens.
Let's look at it again. Now that's not a curveball, and
right fielder. 2-strike pitch. Bob Baylor has it, and the youngster works out of the jam with a runner at second and nobody out.
Ball is it. Major league curveball right here. You can see it snap off, and that story. Hoping it was outside.
And the count full in their lead, however, and he fouled it. There they go. Now they stop, and it's up the middle to Baylor. Gardenhire double play. So the Mets get out of the jam. No runs, a hit. One man of the third inning. Mets nothing, the Reds nothing.
Bench. Let's look at it again. It's that pitch we talked about earlier. We don't know what it is, but it reacts like a forkball. Ball dropped in the middle, and Bench unable to do anything with it. Good throw by Mookie Wilson. Not a good throw, perfect throw by Mookie Wilson, and it's cut off. And a run scores on the balk. The second balk called against the pitcher in this game. So Omby disgusted as the balk called for the second time, and the runners move up. Scoring from third is Concepcion, and going on is Dan Dreesen, and there's George Bamberger. And again, he makes the same move that was called a balk earlier.
Dreesen made a little bit of a, and had he not balked like he had him, as home plate umpire John McSherry talks with Omby and Howard.
And it's hit in the air to left center field. Over there is George Foster. He makes the play, and the side retired. 1 run on 1 hit. There were 2 walks and 2 men left on base. And the score at the look at it again. Just underneath it.
Well, you talk about throwing a lot of pitch.
Cincinnati Red bench.
And a puppet.
Well, he'll remember this one the rest of his life. His first major league base hit. He had been at bat.
The Reds won, and the Mets nothing. Now this word from the U.S. Postal Service. And the boys in the dugout already took care of it for him. Got the ball and put the 4 years old, but he shows a lot of moxie defensively. You notice that he doesn't come falling off the mound after his delivery. Thus, he's able to get off quickly, as he did right there. Does have coming on. And for only the second time tonight, Omby, who has gone the distance, retires the side in order.
Craig Swan, who has won 7 and lost 6, and he has an earned run average of 3.59. Going to the Reds by a score of 1-0. Rick Omby pitching a fine game but losing, getting his first complete game for the New York Mets.
Has been the most reliable starter as he strikes him out to begin the ball game in regards to giving you a good 7-8 innings of ball game.
Right here, Swan goes slider, and it's a good one, although a little bit high. And there you see the break and Walker right over.
Basically, the two clubs even, but the Mets have played 2 less games than Cincinnati. This is the 132nd game, and he's got it. Racich, who had made a couple spectacular plays against the Reds in Cincinnati in the last series, going a long way to get this ball.
One of the few starts for Gary, and he does a good job tracking this one down. He has to worry about the fence being there. And he backhands it and makes the catch in foul territory. Base and shortstop tonight at shortstop, and this ball coming up at the last minute, he makes a good play on it. He is a solid utility baseball player. Here's that I ever saw him. Right here, he gets a slider and takes it right left field fence. Foster making a try for it, but it's out of reach. Well, they play him as a dead pull hitter with a shift, and he takes that low outside fastball right by the third baseman and comes up with his
round to score. The throw coming to the plate, and he is going to be safe. Looked like he was doing a rolling block in a football game the way he came in.
So the Mets tied up on the base hit by Hubie Brooks, and Hubie was fooled by the pitch. Kind of lunges at it. Little breaking ball there, and he serves it into right field. Householder, the right fielder, with his throw to the plate. It's offline. And Racich makes the block type slide. Covers up that plate with his hand and body, and the Mets have a tie ball game at 1. They also have it there. And on the run batted in.
As Householder hauls it in. Hodges scored, but a good play by Dreesen. He got the ball and reached back to tag Hubie Brooks, but Brooks just got back in the bag. As if to say, what do you think, I'm a fool? I'm going to be that far off the bag?
And the slider hit deep enough and right to score the runner from third base. The Mets get a run this time. He gets him with a fastball. So Swan with his second.
Goodbye.
Well, Dave Kingman ties with Dale Murphy for the leadership in home runs in the National League. Kingman really taking this one downtown. His 32nd home run, it's a slider, and Kingman got it all. One bounce against the back of the wall in the bullpen. And the Mets lead by a score of 3-1. That's only the 7th home run given up by Bereni this year. And if you chop 32nd home run of the year.
Just puts this in the gap. Cedeno's not going to get this ball. Hodges is going to try for 3. And the throw, not in time.
And Ron Hodges with his first 3-base hit of the year. And he wins the race. Relay coming across, a throw a little offline. That gives him a chance to slide in under the tag. Hodges with his second 3-base hit in his major league career. One out, and the batter will be 4, and Swan walks his first man. Now the big. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and the fastball swung on and missed. So Swan reaches back, picks up his 3rd strikeout. At it again. He had something on that one. Follow through, and he bounces right up high in the air, and then comes up an infield fly. The batter's automatically out, and Bob Baylor hauls it in, and the runners hold. It's hit in the air to left field, playable for George Foster, and Swan works out of the inning. A bases-loaded situation with no one out, and then working out of it with no one scoring. 3 men left on base on 2 hits and a walk, and the score at the end of 3 1/2. It's the Mets 3 and the Cincinnati Reds 1. Now here's a word from Doc. And Oster struck out on 3 pitches. So Swan, who got out of a jam in the 4th, as he starts off the 5th. As Foster, he's as far as he can go, and that's far enough. So the fly ball by Cedeno caught by George Foster, and that ends the inning. 1 base hit and 1 man left to 4 1/2 innings. The Mets 3 and the Cincinnati Reds 1. An injury. Let's check out the scoreboard with Lawrence.
He's got some tightness in his arm, and he was taken out for precautionary reasons. Not a lot.
So Palaio on a breaking ball strikes out Bench, and he gets his first man. Here it is again. And he can't get it. Good play, but not in time as Householder. Wonder if the shortstop could have made it. Would have been a little easier play for the shortstop, but Giles did a good job of getting it over there. Boy, I don't know about that call.
Yeah, it looked like he was out.
Householder picked off at first base by Charlie Palaio. And he got picked off with a tying run at the plate. Here's the replay. Householder picked off. Boy, what a good play that was. Palaio at first base holds there. So it's now a 1-run ball game as 2 men were out. 3 hits and 1 man left on base. And the score. He guns right back with a fastball here, and it tails back on the outside corner. A perfect pitch. And so
nice stop. Goes to second. But that hesitation and Householder's speed prevents the double play.
I think that Dave had trouble getting that ball gloved. Bench stops running. He's going to go back toward first when Kingman makes this play. Right there you see Bench having stopped, and now he has to go on. And they get the force play at second.
Gets out of the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 8th. The Mets leading by a run. New York 3, Cincinnati 2. Now this word from Budweiser. Look at this, a line drive. That mitt was down by his side, but he got it up. So we go to the 9th. Hang on to your seats. The Mets out in front by a score of 3-2. Now this is after the first pitch. Mookie Wilson, a long way to go, but there, and there's 1 away. He's got it, 2 away. 4 pitches, 2 out. That is a third of the games played. And Concepcion takes a strike. Strike 2. Good pitch by Palaio. He struck out Concepcion the last time he was. 2-strike delivery. And that's Fry. Wanting to see Palaio put an end to this ball game right here. 2-strike pitch. Struck him out. Charlie Palaio getting his first major league save as the Mets prevail here and win it by a score of 3-2. And they have a chance to win the series tomorrow when Falcone goes against Bob Shirley. So the Mets win it 3-2. We'll be back with the totals and highlights after this word from Budweiser Light.
Or 3-2. And Craig, first of all, you had to leave the ball game because of a tightness in your shoulder. Any more information on that?
Well, we got in there and Dr. Parks looked at it. I do have a muscle that's kind of, I don't know, they call it a mouse, I guess. And
thought that was a black eye.
Well, no, it's similar. It's just a little inflammation of a muscle in my shoulder, and I'm glad it was that rather than the cuff. And
did you hurt it?
2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. play fake. We see, just stop it right there. We see the post breaking right in there for the touchdown.
Big run. It's insurance, and it's hit out of sight. Dave Kingman is the batter. I guess it was a slider. It looked like the ball moved a little bit. And he hits it one hop against the back of that bullpen wall out there. About 480 or so feet. And Kingman coming up with his 32nd home run. He's now tied for the National League lead with Dale Murphy. Well, after this is a nice feeling for the Mets. Fastball backing up over the outside part of that plate. Good live fastball, huh, Ron?
Charlie was throwing really well tonight. He made a few mistakes with his location on his pitches, but as far as velocity went, he was really throwing hard. And that particular pitch right there, if it was clocked, I'm sure it was upwards of 90 miles an hour. He really threw it hard.
Good stuff on that. Well, that's the story of the ball game. Ron Hodges, thank you for coming on.
On a roll. Make it 2 in a row, beating the worst team in the National League. And Steve Albert will have it all, plus tennis and a lot. Meanwhile, out at Shea today, the Mets just let loose, aired it out, 10-2 romp over the hapless Reds. And the Mets just exploding in the second with 7 runs. Reserve catcher Bruce Bochy, a major contributor right here, 2 of his 4 RBIs. Dave Kingman and George Foster scoring on the base hit, 2-1 Mets. And then later, same inning, it's Ellis Valentine as the Mets continue their assault, a 3-run homer. It's just fair. Number 8 on the season, giving the Mets the 7-1 lead. And then Valentine doing it defensively in the 6th, the drive by Wayne Krenchicki. Ellis goes back, and makes a beautiful catch at the wall. 1 inning later, Dave Kingman taking over the home run lead of the National League. Number 33 made it 9-2. The Mets take it 10-2. Lynch over Shirley. Let's wrap.
Have reminded us of those bars on the Upper East Side. All singles and not much action. Not so today. The Mets hammered Cincinnati 10-2. Pick it up, 2nd inning at Shea. The Mets strike for 7 big runs here. Bruce Bochy's single past Ron Oster scores 2. Then watch what happens. Ed Lynch, the pitcher, good bunt, lays it down. Bob Shirley chases it, throws it, uncorks it. Where? Into right field. Hubie Brooks comes in to score. Then Ellis Valentine, watch this shot. Goodbye. Kisses one to left, and the Mets coasted the rest of the way to a 10-2 victory. 2 wins in a row for the surging Mets. Elsewhere, National League.
Ownby throws a lot. Mookie Wilson. And that retires the side. So we go to the 9th inning. The Mets out in front by a score of 5-0. Now this word from Exxon. The second time Baylor hitting one by him. And the second time he goes in with a double.
Bob Baylor, a good night for the Mets. 2 doubles and 2 walks. So far he scored 3 runs. If we look at it again, he gets out there in front. It goes off the glove of Madlock.
Off on the pitch.
Of the season, this is his all-time high for stolen bases. And thrown out 3 times. So Baylor running with the pitch. Gets a little help as the ball is short.
Walked him.
Joe Foster walked this ball game. Dave Kingman, and while he comes up, Getty would like to give certificates to tonight's most valuable player, Rick Ownby, working on the shutout, leading by a score of 5-0. So congratulations.
.22 pitch. And went after a bad offering, struck him out. The bases are loaded. Ron Hodges drills one deep. It is gone. That is the first, Mr. Kiner, grand slam home run for a New York Met this year.
And Ron Hodges comes up with the 4 RBIs. It is his 5th home run of the year, the most he has ever hit in a single season in the major leagues. And that makes it a 9-0 ball game. Ron Hodges with a grand slam home run.
And that, as most of the 7,956 here tonight, headed for the exits. Oh, the Mets now out in front, 9-0. And the only people who aren't leaving is that North Carolina football team.
There it is again. Grant Jackson, just after they played welcome back on the organ, gives him the real welcoming there as he hits the ground.
Richie Hebner is there, and that retires the side. But the Mets pick up 4 runs in the grand slammer by Ron Hodges, and we go to the bottom of the 9th. New York 9, Pittsburgh nothing. Now this, and the first offering is hauled in by Mookie Wilson. Johnny Ray flying out to right center.
And Mookie, good jump at this ball. Look at it again as Johnny Ray lines out to right center field. Mookie going at full speed right now. And then he has to reach up. So Mookie hauls in the pitch. And that'll bring up.
And this ball is gone. So the Pirates, who have been shut out only twice all. Brian Giles, who had played with Ownby and Tidewater most of the year, is leaving the mound. This could be the 4th double play of the night. It is, and the game is over as the New York Mets, who had not won a road game since a month ago, August the 7th, here at Pittsburgh, win it tonight by a score of 9-1. We'll be back with the totals and highlights after this word from Budweiser Light.
Three-game road losing streak stopped at 12. In Pittsburgh tonight, Mets beat the Pirates by the score of 9-1, and they also did it with the home run. In the 5th, Dave Kingman with 2 on his 34th. This gave the Mets a 5-0 lead, 4 RBIs on the night for Kingman. And in the 9th, Ron Hodges, his first Major League Grand Slam, the Mets' first Grand Slam of the season. Rookie Rick Ownby all the way lost the shutout in the 9th on a home run by Dale Barrett.
Mets. They're red hot again. You just never know when these guys will win a baseball game. Tonight in Pittsburgh, they really won a game, beating the Pirates 9-1. Yes, here's how it happened. The sparks were flying. The Mets' 5th inning. Dave Kingman, 3-run home run to left field, give the Mets a 5-zip lead. And Big Dave now leads the National League in home runs with 34. And here's the Pittsburgh.
So both pitchers, birds nothing. Now the diving stop by Smith, not in time, but he saved a run.
Call him the Wizard of Oz, and right here he pulls a great play, making the diving catch to keep the run from scoring. Gets up and throws over to first base. The throw is too late. There's John Stearns. In the left field, a base hit. Coming in to score is Hodges. Brooks rounds at third base and holds there, and Swan has put the Mets on top with his second base hit of the ball game as he puts the Mets up 1-0. So Swan picking up his 4th run batted in.
All breaking balls outside, so he came after him with a fastball right down the pipe. Swan ready for it and got it. Ford's charging that ball.
And they leave 2. And the score at the end of 3.5 innings, it's the Mets 1. This is out on strike. A 1-3 Swan. And he has not given up a base hit or allowed a base runner since 1 out in the 1st inning. And the score at the end of 4, the Mets 1 and the Cardinals nothing. Going at first. Threat by the St. Louis Cardinals. And that's a ball. And it's George pitch. And it's 2 at the pitch. Struck him out. So Smith is struck out. Swan gets his 4th strikeout. And now with 2 men out, the batter will be John Stuper. There it is as Swan gets the big strikeout. Swan takes the throw, and that retires his side. No runs, 1 hit alive. The Mets 1, the Cardinals nothing. Now here's.
Oh, he was off his feet when he
center field. Way back, Mookie to the warning track. He goes high in the air, and he made the catch. So Hernandez using up all of the ballpark, and so did Mookie Wilson. Let's look at it again.
If he does not leap off his feet, he's not going to get this ball. Here he goes. And a great effort by Mookie Wilson.
Look how high off the ground he is. That ends the inning. No runs, no hits, a walk, a stolen.
He has not been hitting, but his defense has continued to be superb.
And now Hernandez with his drive deep to center field, and Mookie taking the extra base hit away. Fielding Year at third base, and this ball hit down to him. He has trouble finding the handle, picks it up, throws it in the dirt. And then Kingman coming up with a pickup on a very difficult hop. So they pick up.
So Orozco stops the Cardinals here in the 7th. We move on to inning number 8. Cardinals nothing. Now the man is going to wind up with a triple as that ball goes to the corner. They're going to wave him on. The throw coming to the plate. Inside the park home run for Dave Kingman. Can you believe it? Have you ever seen anything like it, Ralph?
Well, that's one time the shift paid off for Dave Kingman. A high fly ball over by the foul line. Dave doesn't even really start running. And now Henrik with the long run, and he's going all out right here. And the ball drops out of his reach, and he has a tough time even stopping before turning out to try and chase it down. He goes back into the corner. Kingman being waved around third by Frank Howard.
He was ready to stop.
And now Kingman, who does run well, comes on in, and he's just about ready to quit right there. And he gets a home run. He is now tied with his 35th home run for the National League lead with Dale Murphy.
So it is a 2-0 ball game. Look at his teammates laughing. Mookie Wilson. Kingman going full speed. His momentum carried him right up to the box seat with him. The bat of Dave Kingman. And as we go to the bottom of the 8th, New York 2, the Cardinals nothing. Now this word from Manufacturers Hanover.
Baseman for the Mets, Mike Jorgensen, has taken over for Dave Kingman and out in Leicester, and they will hit in the
Tom Verizor. Well, George Bamberger had planned on using Verizor, only 5 innings, but he will have a 1-2-3 inning here in the 8th. So we go to the 9th. Mets out in front by a score of 2-0. Now this word from Michelob Light. John Stearns says, here's the black spot is where the ball is. Now watch Bob Baylor coming into second base. He's right there. His foot is on the bag. You see his foot to the right of second base. He is on the bag. There is where the ball is at. And John Stearns has just been the 4th Met thrown out this year by John Montague.
Ed Montague.
Ed Montague.
Montague was fined $500 for grabbing Hubie Brooks's shirt in a rhubarb and home plate when Brooks was obviously safe. Brian Giles has got.
Way back. This ball is gone. And just popped him up. Hodges near the screen. And there's one away. Well, he lost the left-hander.
Orozco back with a fastball and along the screen. And he puts it away.
High ball, deep left center field. And Mike Howard is there, and he puts it away. 2 out. Howard coming on to. Popped him up, but it caught the outside corner. Strike 2. 2 pitch. And this ball lined into the Mets bullpen. picked up. This should be the ball game. Howard coming on. Baylor is there. And they let it drop.
You got it, and it drops in between. So we'll have to do it again.
Go. Delivers the 1-2 pitch. And it's high 2-2. 2-2 pitch. And that's ball 3.
And Bamberger.
Right back to Jesse, and the Mets will survive the air and win this ball game. So the Mets beat the Cardinals, pushing them into second place as the Phillies now take over the Eastern Division lead. And the Mets, who had lost 15 in a row, now have won 5 of their last 8 ball games as they win it here tonight by a score of 2-1. We'll be back with the totals and highlights right after this message.
Elsewhere, the Mets beat the Cardinals 2-1. Let's go to the videotape. Bottom of the 6th, 1-0 Mets. Look at this. Cardinals 2 on, 2 out. Hernandez, long drive, left, right center field. Mookie Wilson on his horse and pulls it in. And that perhaps saved the game because, look at this, top of the 8th, Kingman. Fly ball, right field. George Hendrick coming over. Forget it, George. And look at Kingman. Here comes Dave. Do you believe this? His first career inside the park home run. Come on, Dave, leg it in. Look at Dave stumbling across 2-1, and the Mets win it. Meanwhile, the Mets made a trade today. They sent Tom Hausman to the Braves for left-handed relief pitcher Carlos Diaz. Pennant.
On the right field corner and inside the Parker, your first in your major league career. And those last 7 or 8 steps looked like they might have been a little bit hard.
I tell you, I can hardly pick my feet up, and to be honest with you, I hope I never do that again. Well, that's the hard way to get a home run, and I'll leave those inside Parkers to Mookie and the little speedsters like that.
And Green cannot get it, and it bounces up into the seats, and Wilson, who is headed for third, will have to go back to second base.
That's kind of a tough break for the Mets, as Mookie certainly would have had a 3-base hit of the year. And he now has 155 hits for the season. Long drive to right center field. It looked like the wind was holding the ball up. David Green almost catching up with it. But it bounces into the stands, and the Mets have the first base runner as Wilson leads off with a double.
Wilson goes to third.
Now there he goes up there like that. And
3-1 pitch inside, he walked him. So the Mets have runners at the corners with 1 out. Pre-game guest Dave Kingman. I thought a very interesting interview talking about his feelings on both.
Had a good comment on George Foster regarding his hard time.
Kingman with 36 home runs, 91 RBIs, and he lays down a bunt. Again. Outside a ball. Pitch. Just
they didn't work either.
That's high. 2 pitch. And that's the end of the year if need be. Kingman loops one into left. That's going to be in there for a base hit. And the Mets, Lonnie Smith almost had that ball go over his head as the Mets lead it 1-0.
And Kingman gets his 92nd run batted in. And he hits a low outside curveball to drive in that run. Kingman now with 98 hits, and seen as Kingman.
The bullpen appears to be.
Well, this is a 2-base hit all the way. Ball on by Obergefell at third and out into foul territory as
to the right side. Hernandez makes the unassisted out, and Baylor advances to third. Another run-scoring opportunity. And this ball popped up to the left side. But it will way high. Ball called strike. Correction. Well, I was about to say it.
Certainly was not a strike.
This ball hit to right. Baylor tagging up. Hendrick coming on. Here comes Baylor. And the throw is going to be almost to the dugout. And the Mets lead 2-0.
Well, if you're going to throw it wild, throw it real wild. RBI for Kingman. That is his 93rd of the year, and just no contest. The throw was at least 35, 40 feet off line and 40 feet on. Goodbye. Bruce Bochy. And for Bochy, that is his first home run. And the Mets are leading by a score of 4-0, and here comes Whitey Herzog.
Val Bochy has had 4 big league home runs, all with the Houston Astros. The Tidewater all of last year. This is first year with the Mets, so obviously his first home run as a New York Met. And that is going to be all for Mr. Mira.
And there is no doubt about it. He gets all of this one. Lonnie Smith, the left fielder, just turns and watches as he goes into the second deck here at Busch Memorial Stadium. So Steve Mura knocked out of the box, and the Mets leading by a score of 4-0. And while Rasmussen comes in the warm out, we're in the top of the pitch. There's the throw. He almost hits the pitcher. It's a one-bounce throw, and Mookie is in safely. And Mookie sets a record every time he steals a base for the New York Mets. That is his 54th. And Tennis almost hits the pitcher with his throw.
And a bad pitch does not help him.
Now, Bertie Tebbets advocated 2 on home runs by Giles and Bochy. They had 3 hits and 1 left at the end of 3.5. It's the Mets 4 and the Cardinals nothing. And now here, as Baylor has something to say to Ed Montague, who has become a nemesis to the New York Mets. Montague has thrown out 3 Mets in the last 4. So there goes Mookie back to the warning track, and he makes the catch, and Falcone gets out of the inning. 1 hit and 1 man left at first. It's umpire. A close play at first, but no argument.
It hits Falcone's glove, and a great effort by Baylor. Takes a couple of steps and then lets loose. Looked like he might have beaten it out. Streak as you take a look at the breaking ball.
And that's his knuckle curve, and it's a big breaking one, and he got
Baylor to his left in time, and for the 3rd time today, after runners on with 1 out, Falcone retires the next 2 hitters. We go to the 8th. The Mets out in front, 4-0. Now this fires the side in order. We go to the 9th. The New York Mets 4 and the St. Louis Cardinals nothing. Now
there it is Pete Falcone for his fine pitching against the Cardinals. Congratulations, Pete, from Getty.
Falcone, when he snapped the Mets' 15-game losing streak, had a shot. 2-2 pitch. Pop foul. Lost a shutout thus far as we're in the 9th. Well hit. Valentine back. And he's got it. The shutout is gone as Smith scores. It's a 4-1 ball game.
That's in his major league career.
Lazy fly ball to left. Howard shading his eyes and puts it away. 2 away. Taking 5 out of 9 from the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. And he is flat out to left. Pittsburgh. This pitch. And this will be it. Brooks shading his eyes. And Falcone has won his 2nd game in his last 3 outings, and in both allowing only 1 run. So the Mets win the series 2-1. They even up the road trip at 3-3, and for the first time this year they have won a series on the road, taking 5 out of 9 games from the Cardinals. So it has tightened up the National League Eastern Division race, and we'll have the totals and highlights on the 4-1 Mets victory over the Cardinals right after this message.
Oilers, they got excellent pitching from Pete Falcone. They also got some timely hitting, and they beat the contending St. Louis Cards 4-1. Dave Kingman drove in the first 2 runs. This, his single in the first, scores Mookie Wilson, who had doubled. And then, again, David up. Sacrifice fly. And that made the score 2-0 in favor of the Mets. But it was not over yet. Shortly, you will see back-to-back home runs by Brian Giles. They said he didn't have any power. They were wrong. And then Bruce Bochy, his first major league home run. That closed the scoring out for the Mets. The Cards got their only run in the 9th. Final Mets 4, Cards 1. In other games
this evening, the Mets were the spoilers, beat the Expos by the count of 9-4. Big night for Mookie Wilson. This home run leading off the game is 5th on the season. Mookie had 4 hits in all, scored 3 runs. Swan pitching into the 7th, won his 10th. He is now 10 up, 6 down.
Night, and the first of 2 for the Mets. The Cards, another 1-run loss for the Mets. They were down early in the game in the 7th inning, then 2-1. Dave Kingman, his 37th home run of the year. He keeps his major league lead in that department, and this one traveled well over 450 feet. Neil Allen on a relief of Ed Lynch in the 10th. Mookie Wilson tries a B-52, and Keith Hernandez came in. The Mets fell 3-2 and 10. In the second game, Kingman's error at first base kept Scott Holman on the mound, his first major league start, and George Hendrick ruined that one, a 2-run home.
Kingman continued his pursuit of the National League home run title. Here's how it happened. Pick up the action here. First game, 7th inning. Kong is at bat. Here's the pitch. This one is gone. His 37th home run of the year over the left field wall to lift the Mets into a 2-2 tie. But the Cards came back to win that first game 3-2. That's okay, Kong. You tried.
Split against the Expos this afternoon. Yankees, Shea family and close friends showing up. They did not exactly elbow their way in. The crowd announced at 2,200. Mets won the first game 2-1 on this Ron Gartenhire home run, leading off the 10th, only a second major league homer. And in the second game, the Expos getting to Craig Swan early. Chris Spire with a home run and a 4-run third. Expos went on to a 5-1 victory for the split. At
Chicago and snapping the Cubs' 6-game winning streak. Here's how it happened. First inning, Dave Kingman at bat, no home run, this time single. Ron Gardenhire comes in to score. The Mets lead 1-0. Then Mike Jorgensen singles to right. And watch the ball skip away from Jay Johnstone. So Kingman skips around third and comes in to score. It's 2-0. Then second inning, Brian Giles hits his 3rd home run of the year. Get out of there, ball. 3-0 Mets. They go on to win 5-2.
5-2. And what does a first base coach do between innings? Look at Bud Harrelson. That's it. He's got nothing else to do. The catch. Watch this. Amos Otis, fly ball, left center field. Freddie Lynn and Brian Downing back. Look at this catch by Freddie Lynn. You want to see that again? Look at the fence. Look at the fence give. Freddie Lynn makes the catch. Now, 1-1, bottom of the 9th, rookie.
Wrigley Field this afternoon, they beat the Cubs by the score of 5-2. Remember when the Mets and the Cubs were fighting for 5th place? Well, the Mets win now moves them within 8.5 games of Chicago. Rookie Scott Holman went 7 2/3 innings, his first major league win. Mets got him 2 runs in the first inning, 3 more in the second, and that was it. Brian Giles hit his 3rd home run of the season against the win at Wrigley Field.
4,300 showed up in Chicago today. It was Fan Appreciation Day. That's really a lot of appreciation by the fans. And the Mets beat the Cubs 5-4. The Mets' magic number is 3. If the Mets win 3 of their last 10, they avoid 100 losses. Let's go to the videotape this afternoon's game. 1-1, top of the 3rd. And here is George Foster. Fly ball, right field. Durham can't get it. Moves in for a double. Wilson scores. It's 2-1 Mets. Kingman comes up. Kingman hits it down the left field line. Here comes Foster pouring it on. Johnstone hits the wall. Kingman doubles. It's 3-1. Top of the 7th, 4-2 Mets. Mookie on 3rd. Moreland tries to pick off Mookie. Instead, he picks off the 3rd baseman. Mookie scores to make it 5-2, and the Mets win it 5-4.
Bases loaded, nobody out, and Mookie Wilson the batter. Now Charlie Palaio and Ed Farmer, the pitchers of this. Ball. Inside. Base hit. 1 will score. Here comes Valentine around, and the Mets out in front for the first time today, 6-4.
Mookie Wilson getting his 59th and 60th as he drives in two. Ball was not hit hard, but it certainly was hit in the right place. Taking the lead. Moving on down to second, Mookie Wilson.
And the sacrifice attempt is not successful.
Brooks, who has been the hitting star of this game.
He has had, as you see, a single, a double, and a home run. A triple away, maybe the toughest to get. In the dirt, and the runners will move up. And the base is loaded for the... Hit him in the 8th and 9th. Well hit. Way back. Oh, nice catch by Matthew. On 3 hits. Strand the bases loaded and lead it here as we go to the 8th inning by a score of 6. Third from Michelob Light. Valentine back. He's got it. As I said, that's a tough situation for him, and look how upset Schmidt is.
He tied the game up.
He is really hot.
That wind really held up the ball.
Taking a look at it again.
He thought he had it. And there's no doubt about it. The wind just taking that ball and bringing it right down into the glove of Ellis Valentine.
This word from United Airlines. New York 6, Philadelphia 4. Now this word in the dirt. Paleo in 2 innings is a... Even if they lost, the magic number would be down to 2. That ball out of play. In the bottom of the 8th. Brewers 4 next weekend as Vukovic. Paleo. Willie Montañez struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 9th. And Charlie Paleo 1 out away of evening up his record and giving the Mets the series victory. And that evens the count as the swings and misses strike 2. Paleo a strikeout away. Just missed. 2-2 pitch. Right here. Fly ball left field. Mike Howard is there. And the Mets win. As Paleo picks up his 9th victory against 9 losses. As the Phillies are down in order in the 9th. So the final score here this afternoon as the Mets win the series 2-1. New York 6, Philadelphia 4. Now this...
And I know that it's been a disappointing year. Other things that have happened, your pitching staff didn't turn out as well as you would have liked, and now you have some young pitchers that have shown some promise.
I am really pleased with the young pitchers. In other words, Omby has pitched 7 games. The last 5 games are really solid games, and he showed he's a big league pitcher. Holman pitched a great game in Chicago, and I was really pleased with his stuff. Terrell, gave up 1 earned run the other day in 7 innings, so you have to be pleased. You have to be pleased the way he goes about the game. But I haven't even mentioned Darling, who became, him and Terrell came in the same trade for Mazzilli, and a kid named Bittaker. Now, there's 5 kids that can step in and pitch big league ball, as far as I'm concerned.
Taking this year.
Yeah, she's probably suffered a lot.
She's not too far away. She lives in Staten Island?
She lives in
the 2nd inning. This is how it came about as Brian Giles came up with Ellis Valentine on base. Ellis had singled and gone into 2nd. But before that, let's take a look at Craig Swan as Craig Swan comes in with this strikeout of a fairly good hitter and a guy named Mike Schmidt. This is the man that George was talking about. Boy, he just got that outside corner. One of the things about yesterday's ball game was the fact that he had outstanding control, didn't he?
Right. He's one pitcher on this club that I think can, if you have a meeting and say how to move the ball around, he's one guy I believe can do that.
Now as he hits in this spot right here, Carlton, one of the outstanding pitchers in baseball history, and Giles doesn't hit it too hard, but he drops it in there. And the Mets get the first run of the ball game, which they needed badly. And they also came up with one more. Giles has ended up with a two-base hit, according to the official. Carlton, let's take a look at this hit by Hubie Brooks. Mets get their final run as Hubie slices the ball out to right field. And Dave Kingman comes in to score. Kingman had walked in that fourth inning, and this proves to be the winning run in the ball game. And Hubie coming through in that spot for the base hit that gave the Mets. Are you going to be back next year?
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'll come up with the answer, you know, in the next 4 or 5 days or the next 3 days. For the simple reason that I haven't given the answer is really, I'm really grateful that this club hired me as a manager, and I think they showed a lot of confidence that they would like me and would like me coming back next year after having a poor year. I think I owe them something for going out on a limb on it. Now that's one reason why I think about coming back, plus the young talent. The other reason why I kind of hedge about coming back is I say, well, you know, manager's not an easy job. It's a very tough job, strenuous and so on. I can go home and I don't have to do this. And I can go home, relax, go home, have dinner at night, go fishing, whatever I may. So there's the two things right there. Do I want the stress and the strain and relax, or do I want to manage? So I'll come up with that.
Phillies, they overcame a shaky start. They've won another game at Shea Stadium today. That's 2 in a row at least. The pitching of Rick Omby put them in a hole early. He walked in 2 runs with the bases loaded. That one to Pete Rose made it 4-2. Mr. Bamberger quietly ponders. Hubie Brooks took things into his own hands. He had a solo home run in the bottom of the 4th inning. 1 of 3 hits for Hubie, his 2nd home run of the year. Mookie Wilson's 7th inning single to center gave the Mets a 6-4 win, and the Phillies' loss put the magic number for the St. Louis Cardinals at just 2. Meanwhile, the Cardinals could have made it 1, but they ran into old Ferguson Jenkins out match of the year. Lonnie Smith belted one deep to center. This is Mel Hall. Watch that play, folks. That is incredible. It's a sacrifice fly that brought in Ken Oberkfell, but you won't see a better one even if it was Willie Mays. That's Mel Hall of the Cubs. Saved 2 runs. Now, 2 days ago,
4th inning at Shea, down 4-2. Hubie Brooks, his 2nd homer of the year, makes it 4-3. Phillies still in the lead here. Then in the 7th inning, the Mets get 3 more to win it. Mookie Wilson with a single through the middle. Gardenhire scores. Valentine scores. The final 6-4 Mets. In St. Louis.
Last place until tonight, and it's a shame because they won their 3rd in a row today. They did it against the wonderful, terrific Pittsburgh Pirates. And this time it was Scott Holman who was the hero, even though Willie Stargell had his night. Hubie Brooks came in on a Scott Holman single in the 5th. The Mets led 2-1. Later, he scored on a wild pitch from Rick Rhoden. The Mets added 1 more on a Mike Howard single. Gary Racich had a 1st inning triple, also scored. But Holman went to 2-1. He struck out. Stargell with the tying runs on to end the game. Mets won it 4-1. And the other scores and the important one, the St. Louis Cardinals are now leading.
We're at Shea against the Pirates, and the Mets can't lose 100 games this year. They beat the Pirates 4-1. The most they can lose is 99. Mets led 1-0 in the 5th. Tony Pena got to the Mets starter Scott Holman for his 11th home of the year. Left center field. This tied the game at 1-1. Mets scored twice in the bottom of the 5th. Holman at the plate, singles to left. Hubie Brooks comes around to score, and this makes it a 2-1 contest. And with Holman at 3rd, Rhoden serves up a wild pitch. Holman comes in to score. This makes it 3-1. Mets made it 4-1. Bottom of the 7th, Mike Howard. He singles to right. Giles scores, although it's a little shaky as he crosses the plate here. Yes, indeed. It's 4-1. Holman strikes out Stargell. This ends the game, and he picks up his 2nd win of the year on a 7-hitter.
It is Dave Collins robbed by the leaping catch by Von Hayes, but the Yankees did hit a couple out. As for the pennant race, it's made it 4 straight wins. Club is on fire. In 10, Mets over the Pirates 3-2. Here's the game winner. Pinch hitter Rusty Staub, bad hop base hit. Brian Giles scores from 2nd. Mets win it 3-2 in 10. 4 straight wins for the Mets. At Giants.
At Shea last night, the Mets made it 4 in a row. Here's their pennant drive. Beat the Pirates 3-2. Let's go to the videotape and look at umpire Harry Wendelstedt. Swing and a miss, off the glove, and boom, it hits Wendelstedt in the collarbone, and they had to take him out of the game. Now, 1-1, bottom of the 7th, 1st and 3rd, 1 out, Foster ground ball, Flip DeBera drops the ball, Kingman kicks it in the left field, and Valentine scores 2-1 Mets. Now, 2-2, bottom of the 10th, Rusty Staub ground ball, look at that hop, looked like AstroTurf, over Berra's head, and Giles scores, and the Mets beat the Pirates 3-2.
The Mets had won 4 in a row, and 6 of their last 7. How long can this go on? Well, it ended tonight as the Mets lost 4-1 to the Cubs, but the Mets did pull off a triple play. Pick up the action in the 3rd inning. Keith Moreland, the batter, nobody out. Runners on 1st and 2nd. Watch this. Line drive to Brian Giles for 1 out. Tag 2nd for 2. Over to Rusty at 1st for 3. That's the triple play. But the Mets lost the game. Standings around the
It races heat.
Rowdy's a lead. The pitch, fastball hit away back into left field. This ball will be up on the net. A 3-run homer for Ned Young. And Milwaukee goes on top 6-3.
Meanwhile, they won at 13-6 at Shea. The Brian Giles show. 2 outstanding plays. 3rd inning, Moreland on the liner to Giles. Got 1 at 2nd, 3 to 1st. Completes the Mets' 2nd triple play of the season, both against the Cubs. The Major League record is 3 in a season. Now in the 9th, another sensational play by Giles, and he's able to double off Buckner at first. Buckner, the hitting star, as the Mets were beaten by the Cubs. Despite the defensive heroics, they lost by the score of 4-1.
Night. The Cubs beat the Mets 4-1, but guess what? The Mets pulled off their 2nd triple play of the year. You want to see it? You got it. Let's go to the videotape. Top of the 3rd. 2 on, of course, nobody out. Moreland, line drive. Giles has it, steps on 2nd, throw to 1st. Triple play by the Mets. All right, Mets. You want to see a great catch? Look at this. Gary Woods, fly ball, short left field. Watch Brian Giles. Look at that catch. Is that a grab? Take a bow. Brian Giles, double play, but the Mets lose 4-1. Yankees beat...
But Shea Met manager George Bamberger announced he will return next season, and it is Bamberger who preferred a 1-year deal.
I talked to my wife yesterday, and I told her what the decision was. And, of course, she says, I knew that's what you're going to do, because I knew you wouldn't walk away.
But George and his Mets lost again tonight. Jerry Morales with a bloop RBI hit. This gave the Cubs a 1-0 lead in the 4th. Morales did it at the plate and also in the field. Morales in the 6th inning, robbing Hubie Brooks to save a run. Cubs beat the Mets 3-1.
There is Ed Montague, normally wearing number 11. Where their equipment is, no one knows. And what a play and what a throw by the Mets shortstop.
Well, Gardenhire here really puts on a good move. He gets over there at the backhand of the play and then guns it to first base. Rose still runs well in spite of his age, and he almost beat it out, but...
Kingman leading the National League in home runs with 37 will lead it off. Hitting .204, 37 home runs, and
normally be the second baseman.
And the hottest Met hitter in the lineup tonight, Gary Racich.
Racich has batted .318.
Time. Boy, a couple of fine plays here tonight by the left side of the infield.
There have been some hard hit balls on this artificial turf so far in this game. This one the hardest. And Hubie Brooks coming up with a 1-hopper and going down to his knees, rising to throw out. Mike Schmidt. Look at it again. And the fastball stays.
Now this word from Budweiser. Pitcher ejected.
Ball went right behind him. Can you believe that?
How about Hodge? Nice job by Gardenhire getting back behind DeJesus, but Brooks is thrown a little late.
Well, DeJesus cost his team a chance to be in the lead, 1-0. He did not tag up on this ball hit out the left field. He was off the base. Now after the catch, he goes back to 3rd and has no chance to come in and score. So a mental mistake by DeJesus. And the score is
down. At the end of 3, New York nothing, Philadelphia nothing. Now here's a word from Colico.
Ron Hodges and Brian Giles. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover. So Leach, after giving up a 1-out triple, picks up 2 quick outs. And the side retired. 1
on 1 hit. 4 straight innings that 10 in a row retired as we go to the bottom of the 9th. No score. Now this word from Bud. Struck him out. A little reaction by Mr. Leach.
With a slider.
Fly ball deep to left, but Foster has a beat on it. And that is only the third outfield putout by the Mets. 2 down. Struck him out. So in 9 innings, Leach has allowed only 1 hit and retired the side in order 6 of the 9 innings. So we will go to extra innings. The Mets no runs on a hit. The Phillies no runs on a hit.
And did he swing or not? He did not. It's ball 4.
He's yelling into the Philly dugout on whether Kingman had indicated that he did not go around.
Rusty Tillman running for Kingman. Send Tillman back. And the bunt attempt and the ball foul. And that pitch taken out. Toronto sets up and the pitch is swung on and grounded. And again a throw. And it's hit hard foul. Back to the plate and it's looped into right center field, a base hit. Tillman on his way to third. No play at third base. The throw comes into second and Races continues his strong hitting as he gets a broken back single into right center field.
Racich has been going more to the gap this week. We're telling you he's aiming at second base unless he has been going more into the gap instead of pulling a lot of balls, though that obviously is pulled earlier this week and now is single.
Altamirano with his runner pitch, a fastball runner at third base is Rusty Tillman, the runner at Scary Racich. And Brooks, a 1-1 pitch and a strike. The next delivery hit in the air to fairly deep left center field to score a run. Tillman tagged up at third and he comes in to score. The throw goes into the cutoff man and the Mets get the first run of the ball game on the sacrifice fly RBI by Hubie Brooks. Racich holds at first, 1-0.
No chance at all for Maddox to throw the runner out as that run of the night. The Phillies' 10th inning, it'll be the bottom third of the order. Aguayo.
He is going and the ball hit out to center field. Gary Maddox, an outstanding defensive ball player, and he has second base side and off of the body of the second baseman. It's picked up by the shortstop and the throw to first base in time. So Aguayo, one man left on base, and the score at the end of 9.5, it's the Mets 1, the Phillies nothing. Coming up for Philadelphia, 1 error, and the Phillies no runs on 1 hit, and they've made no errors. And Aguayo, the leadoff for Philadelphia. Defensively for the Mets, Mike Jorgensen replacing Dave Kingman at first. And on the mound for the Mets, Terry Leach going here in the 10th inning, the longest he has ever gone in the major league. And he gets a strike. And a strike call there, and it's 3-2. 9 for next year, looking on. Former pitcher. 3-2 pitch, and he walks him. And Julio Franco will be. Julio Franco, he squares the bunt and bunts it well. Picked up by Jorgensen. He throws to the second baseman, Giles, who picks up the out at second. And Leach misses. And that's a ball for. And a breaking ball over, and that puts it at 2-1. And he misses outside. And it's hit foul down the right field side. Fills the count out to Drama on the first day in October. And it's grounded off to the first base side. Jorgensen fields it in fair territory. Steps on the bag and 2 men away. Aguayo crosses over to third. So now Leach, with the time running 90 feet away, will be working to Gary Maddox this end. And the first pitch swung on and missed. And it's hit out to the second base side, and Giles has it, and Leach does a pirouette, and the Mets win it 1-0 on a 1-hit shutout by Terry Leach. in the inning. No runs, a walk, a runner left at third base, and the final score, the Mets 1 and the Philadelphia Phillies nothing. We'll be back with a recap in just a moment. Right now, here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
Complete with Reggie Jackson and Tommy John go on to capture the American League West flag. And on the next to the last day, Gene Autry, the owner, is back in the saddle again. No, that's not George Steinbrenner getting it.
Jesus, a .238 hitter with 358 RBIs.
And De Jesus trying to beat it out, but Gardenhire with a good throw throws in.
I can't believe that.
One hit, a walk, a double play, and one man left at third, and the score. At the end of 4, it's the Mets nothing, the Phillies nothing. Coming in. Looking at it again, he has a tough backhand play as that ball hits the dirt part of the infield, and now he guns it over to first to get his man. Now there is strike 3, and the side retired in order. 4 strikeout for Holman. It's nothing, and the Phillies nothing. Coming up, hop to Gary Matthews, the throw home offline. Now the throw to second base, and Kingman is safe. So the Mets break through as Kingman gets his 99th run batted in, scoring Foster from second base.
This is a 2-2 pitch that is ripped into left, and Matthews with a good job of keeping that ball from going to the wall, but by having to leap a little late in his throw off the line and up the line at third.
Walk and the score at the end of 5.5 innings. The Mets 1 and the Phillies nothing. Coming up for the Phillies, Gary Maddox and Pete Rose. Here's a word from OTB.
Here comes Jorgensen. Gross on the throw. He is safe as Rose cut it off, and it's a 3-2 ball game with Wilson going to second on the throw-in. I wonder what would have happened if Rose had let that ball go.
The throw was offline, but Rose made a mistake, and he doesn't make many. He allowed the tying run to go on down to second. The throw now is offline. Rose cuts it off and relays it on. And Jorgensen slides in safely, but the bad part of this play as far as Rose is concerned, he did not throw on down to the shortstop where he could have kept Mookie from going into second base. He could have thrown.
This will tie the ball game. And Maddox having trouble with it. Gardenhire will hold up at second. It will be a 2-base hit. Had that ball skipped a little further, he would have been at third. And this game all tied up. And youngster Scott Holman off the hook.
There it is again. Gardenhire taking that fastball and driving it by the shortstop up the alley. Maddox cuts it off, but then drops it as he was trying to throw it. And then finally picks it up and stops Gardenhire at second base. It was a double all the way.
7th spot in the order, and the new third baseman, more than likely Mike Schmidt it is, will bat third the next inning, but be in the 9th spot in the order. And Frank Howard inducted into the Ohio State University Hall of Fame today. Don't get him mad, Philly fanatic.
Can't get him mad.
The gentle giant.
The winning pitcher Ferguson Jenkins. Jenkins now at 14 and 15. Pretty good act.
One shot Howard.
Dodgers clobbered San Francisco, eliminating them from the pennant race, winning 15-2. They got 6 runs in the second inning to break it open. The winning pitcher in that game was Bob Welch. He's 16 and 11. Stewart pitched from the 6th inning on. The losing pitcher was Rene. Baltimore got 4 in the 4th to jump into it.
Decisions, no saves. Struck him out with a runner at second base. So at the end of 6.5 innings of play, the Mets 3, the Phillies 3. It will be Aguayo de Jesus.
And that's his payoff pitch. He can really sink the ball. Now watch this thing break down and in. Aguayo right over the top. Makes another spectacular play. Giles has made only 1 error since coming up from the minor.
He played 163.
Will be in St. Petersburg, Florida this evening.
No runs, no hits, a man left on. At the end of 3, the Mets won, the Phillies won.
The third baseman, Hubie Brooks, and that ends the inning. Good play to end the inning. 1 run on 2 hits. And 2 men left on base. The score at the end of 4, Philadelphia. Foster's head against the base of the wall. Foster playing the bounce perfectly and making a perfect throw. And the tag is made by Ryan Giles, and trio out trying to stretch a single into a double. Good.
So we go to the 9th, the last hope of the Mets as they trail here 4-1, and we'll send Tillman, Brooks, and Giles. Steve Carlton has just won his 23rd ball game of the year as the Phillies win the final game of the year, beating the Mets by a score of 4-1. The Phillies wind up with a record of 89 and 73, second, and wind up with a record of 65 and 97, and wind up 6th in the National League East, last place. So,
well, the curtain has been drawn on the 1982 season. The Mets losing the game by a score of 4-1. The Mets closing the year with a record of 65 wins and 97 losses. And for Steve Carlton, a final finish of 23 victories against 11 losses. It was his 19th come in the first inning on a home run by Ron Gardenhire, his 3rd home run of the season. The Phillies won the ball game. It was over on a beautiful day for baseball. A closing note.
and a good note for Steve Carlton. He allowed only working with you, and go to Palm Springs and work on that stroke.
Well, Palm Springs is not too far away, and the sunshine there, I don't think could equal a day that we've had right here.
Gorgeous.
I'd like to thank our producer, Ralph Robbins, for working with him throughout the season. A pleasure again to be on WRTV. We'll be back in the air on WRTV in 1983. It'll be the Mets looking for a new year. So as they said in Brooklyn, wait till next year.
Unfortunately.
So the final score once again, the New York Mets losing to the Philadelphia Phillies in the final game of the year by a score of 4-1. The participating advertising, when the Mets will open up in spring training in St. Petersburg, Florida. This is Ralph Kiner saying so long for Lauren Brown. The executive producer of Mets Baseball is Ralph Robbins. Directed by Steve Silverman. The associate director was John Gallagher. Produced by the Channel 9 Sports Department. The announcers on the preceding telecast were approved and contracted for by Doubleday Sports Incorporated. This copyrighted telecast was presented by authority of the New York Mets Baseball and WRTV and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audiences. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WRTV is prohibited.